Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Complimentary and not intrusive to either thing.
Yeah.
So
Complimentary with an E and an I.
I think you've corrected me on that a couple times, Fred, on things I've written, but I think I've got it down now. So the difference between the E and the I.
Just
to
for
the
Holy
offense.
Cross?
I did. Evan, we can put Evan in his place. He's flexing, telling us all about what a dynamic CYO basketball player, whatever his youth basketball league was.
It was the JCC.
To quell your concerns,
Quell.
there's new
word art. Live, laugh,
slogans and pictures.
Pantry,
and
kitchen.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
Wine me,
Wine o'clock.
Everything's wicked.
Yeah, no
You're
time.
just-
No,
you're just
no
like-
time for ours once you
you're-
get a couple drinks in you.
Yeah, you're like, oh no.
Fascinating.
It's all of a sudden the ball's bigger. How much of a change
The
is
Duke.
that?
It's longer.
Yeah.
What was that?
The
Yeah. Tell me more about it, Paul.
the
What about its girth?
Duke is longer.
The
The
girth?
college ball is shorter and fatter.
The girth of the ball. Talked
Roslyn
about
Dale, I think, is where he grew up.
Rossi. Yeah, I got ancestors from there.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium, and we got lots to talk about. Boy, starting with this roast and rookie minicamp starting this week on Thursday, and so there's a good mix of subject matter to go over. It's Deuce, it's Alex, who came in after that roast and was just like, I can't believe what I just saw.
I was ready to talk about it all day, and some people were like, oh, I'm too busy. Like, Veronica had a whole message outside her queue that was like, I can't talk, I'm too busy. And then people were working from home. It was like only Fred that I got to geek out with.
yeah.
What are you talking about? We all,
Paul
the
was there.
four of us talked about it.
Paul, you
For a while.
didn't watch
but
it,
you,
though.
but you three did.
And Deuce watched
Ish.
some.
Ish. Yeah.
Paul's here.
I couldn't take my eyes off the
Fred,
TV.
I'm the host, Fred Kirsch.
It was crazy. I mean, I don't know what you expect. I mean, that's what a roast is, right? Like,
I didn't
but
expect
but
that,
it
though.
still was just that nothing
Well,
was off the list.
that's what a roast is, but
Yeah.
I didn't think that they'd do that. And I knew once Jeffrey Ross is involved,
Right.
they've got to do some things. But they went there.
They did.
And-
I mean, everywhere.
But all those people that say, I can't believe they got away with that. If you've listened or seen the Jeffrey Ross, I've seen worse, especially when a woman is the person being roasted. Like some of the things, like I think it was Joan Rivers, her roast. Oh, they were
R.I.P.
vicious. So I would that's what I expect from a Jeffrey Ross roast. But I just didn't think they'd go where they went, and they went everywhere.
Yeah.
There is not one taboo subject that they didn't hit.
And right off the bat, too.
Yeah.
They got right into it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everything.
I mean,
name it.
Giselle's karate instructor was one that I was oh my gosh, and then Bill with his young girlfriend too. That was another one that I just joke areas that
The
I
ring
didn't
cam,
expect to be.
The ring cam was unreal.
I mean, like,
Foxborough High scouting your next
and I thought everybody did Edelman did a great job.
Yeah.
Gronk, everybody did a great job. I think the worst person was Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And he's the only actor among the group, and he was the worst. Everyone was hysterical.
Ben was
and
unhinged.
It was maybe it was a little too long, but it was amazing.
Did you? I mean, because I saw some fans say it kind of felt cathartic in a way, which I mean, I think that's
It's interesting.
like all these guys who have all this kind of controversy with each. I mean, obviously they had great things together too, but it just feels like this is kind of what some people need to get. Just let's all sit around and just roast each other, and then we'll feel better. I don't know.
It was
Definitely.
you know what? I've heard that a lot, and I can understand that. It's like you finally had that fight. You beat the crap out of each other, and then it's like, okay, we're good now.
We should have done it every season. I feel
Yeah.
like that was like
I
at the end
know,
of the year.
right?
Let's
At
all
the end of the
let's
year.
just hash it all out, in a public forum, and let everybody laugh about it, and then we'll move on.
So I think I talked to some people. This isn't good, I thought it was good for the organization and for the brand, but also for that dynasty era of players. I thought it was a good thing. It's like, we had a lot of screwed up things that went on, but we're okay.
Yeah.
It's
At
okay.
the end of the day, we can all do a shot
Yeah.
and say we won some games, and we screwed each other over here and there, and we had some nasty things to say, but at the end of the day, everybody's tied together, and
Yeah.
you know, it
That
was
was the
kinda
moment
fun.
too. The shot, not even Belichick and Crafts, which came after, but right after Gronk's bit, when he was doing his whole bit about how similar Tom and Bill are, and he said, as his last point, and neither of you have ever had a drink with me. And the next thing you know, they're all ripping a shot together. And that's when I tweeted this, but I was like, this is an out-of-body experience if you're a Pats fan, because you would never thought you would have seen something like this. With just how uptight everything was, but just to hear them, like, really going at each other like they probably used to in the locker room. Just so unfiltered, so raw, so funny, especially once they got the drinks flowing and they realized, like, oh, this is like a proper 2010 roast right now. Like,
Yeah.
this is back when comedy, like, I felt like we hadn't had anything like that in the comedy world in just so long, like 5 years, 10 years.
I've been waiting for this for so long.
Yeah.
Look, Toll, Foxborough High is the only job offer you had.
That was Edelman getting back at Bill. Just nothing was sacred.
No, and poor Gronk. Like, I just feel like Gronk didn't realize that there was going to be so many strays.
That was my only
coming
complaint,
his
is
way.
Gronk caught
I'm
too
like,
many
poor
strays.
Gronk. Like, Nikki Glazer's like going in hard on Gronk, and I'm like, oh, leave
Well,
him alone. He's so sweet.
What about Drew Bledsoe?
Bledsoe
Poor
was
Drew.
great. I know, Paul's guy. coming
I
in
mean,
hot.
he was right off the
So,
bat getting
I heard he
nailed.
was great though.
Oh, he was
ha-
excellent.
He handled
he was
it great.
comfortable.
He was excellent.
And
Yeah.
he was one of the
That's
first
'cause evidently he was bleep faced.
yeah, no.
Maybe.
Well,
but-
it was a great promo for his vineyard.
Yeah,
because
no,
he was
always.
just sipping a red from
Yeah.
the Bledsoe family winery.
But he
the
was
whole
really
time.
early. I mean, I did see him,
He was
but
the first.
he was the
yeah.
first non-comedian,
Yeah.
right, to go, and he looked just so comfortable up there. And you know, you saw with Randy a little bit, like, oh man, you know, you got these jokes, and it's hard when you're going after these comedians that know how to
I
deliver
told
them.
you, Drew
and-
was the coolest guy
Yeah.
you knew.
He
So I
was.
could definitely see
Yeah.
him.
But Kevin
being
Hart, I
comfortable.
love. He goes, man. I feel like I've seen you at every Walmart in those picture frames. You know, employee of the month. You know, like he's got that face. You know.
That's true. That's true. But he was funny, and yeah. Now I guess it's just funny listening to everybody discuss it and bring out their favorite parts. And I mean, there's just so much, like you said. It was 3 hours, right? That's why I had to tap out. It got a little long for me.
Oh, I couldn't
So
stop
you
watching.
watched
Me
it.
either. I had every intention of going to bed
And
early. And
I assume, like everybody raves.
Yeah.
Like, and admittedly, I will up front. I'm going to let everybody know I did not see it, but everybody has raved about this. I haven't really seen one person who said it was not good. Not one.
Yeah.
I
And,
heard-
and you know how I always say that I don't mean that literally.
Yeah.
I mean this one literally.
Yeah.
I have not found one person that didn't find it funny.
there were some ladies clutching their pearls upstairs.
Okay.
The one particular.
There was,
That I
there was one
overheard, it
man
annoyed
that,
me.
that I work with that was clutching, but he thought it was funny.
one
But he just kind of thought maybe it was a little too much.
one particular security booth operator came up to me and
Oh my
she
goodness.
was like, I had to turn it off for some parts of it.
Oh.
And
Well,
it's
it's funny because I thought she was trying to stop me yesterday, and that's probably what she wanted to stop me about.
yeah.
And I just kind of like gave it the wave and kept going.
Does she stop you? You guys talk?
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
You have to be special to get your
No,
existence
Not when you're
acknowledged.
behind me.
No, but like,
I still
like,
got to
I'm
talk to
not
Devin
special.
McCourty about that.
you know, if you've never seen one of these,
Alex, you are special. Believe
you know,
me.
Jeffrey,
Not to her.
if you've never seen one of these Ross things,
Yeah.
you would be shocked. But that's what they're like.
Oh, yeah.
This was no.
See, I am not familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
That would have really.
I was
think that's
familiar,
probably why
but
I didn't watch it.
still didn't think just because like it's Tom Brady, it's all these
Yeah.
like I didn't think it was gonna be like a real roast like when.
Yeah.
But I should have known.
And
But
that's
I was
that's
naive.
probably where I missed. And what Alex said a few minutes ago, it was kind of like a throwback to a different time of comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what I was figuring. Okay, yeah, I know roasts, like, you know, they can get vicious, but I was like, well, not anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
No,
you just figure, like, you can't do that anymore because you're just going to get canceled.
no. I mean, these roasts, all these Jeffrey Ross ones they are vicious. They are vicious.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
And it was funny because you could see the shift kind of because Drew went up there and Drew was great and made the jokes, but then Nikki Glazier comes on and there was like I'd say the first half of her set, if you look at all the reactions of people in the background, they're just like bewildered that this is even happening, that they're hearing. But then they start loosening up and having more drinks, and Nikki's set continues and gets crazier and more outrageous and more outrageous. And then from there, it was just like
Yeah.
we lost control of the car and it's speeding.
No, but in a good way.
And then you were tired
In the
again.
best
I mean,
way.
I get it. It's hard to walk away from something that's not your pregnant girlfriend. It's tough.
Jeez. I mean, and that's the thing too is like
She was really good.
with these guys, they've had 25 years of on the big stage, and all these things were just waiting there to be made fun of. It was just so much comedy gold that people could have fun with, going back to everything. I mean, over like I said, 25 years. It's there's not many things like that you could do a roast where everybody all right, there's a couple things, he had a divorce, but this is like you
And
got
that's why-
a plethora for
That's
everybody.
why my only complaint.
A what?
plethora.
Plethora.
Why did you have to say it like that?
It's a little Three Amigos.
That's why my only complaint, other than Gronk getting all the strays, was, and I understand why Netflix didn't have Matt Light take a turn, because like, who's Matt Light? However, I don't think they realized what they missed out on.
Yeah, he would have been good. They had that row of teammates sitting behind. I thought Nate Solder was uncomfortable. I think he was like.
At first, I thought all
Nobody
those
told me
guys
it
were
was
going to
gonna be
get
like
up.
this.
I
Yeah.
thought all
Get
those
me
guys
outta
were going to
here.
get up, and I'm like, oh man, this is. I mean,
Me
if
too,
Randy
I thought
Moss
that-
can barely put it
yeah.
together, like, what's Nate Solder going to do?
They
Like,
should have swapped out either Affleck or Kardashian, get rid of one of them, and throw in Matt Light, and I think
Alex
it's a perfect
Affleck,
night.
Kardashian.
All right.
Well, Kardashian was like a minute.
You
if,
could see
if
she
that,
got shook
could
though.
Barely,
She got shook by
she
getting
was so
booed.
shook.
You
Yeah.
could tell, like, because everyone was just.
And then Affleck was like unhinged on
How can
who
you
knows
be
what.
someone
he
like
was-
that
he-
and get unhinged by getting booed?
Okay, so I have
like
a theory.
Kardashian.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think because she's delusional. I
It's
don't
like
think
Roger
she
Goodell,
realizes-
Doesn't
right?
she get
Roger
booed a lot?
Goodell's
They
like,
do.
let's go, boo me up,
Yeah,
let's go.
I think she's delusional. I
you would think
she
that
still
she'd be
thinks
used to
that-
getting booed
Yeah.
because she has to be pretty polarizing.
Especially in that setting, it's not her people. This isn't like
Right.
this isn't the E
But
Awards.
she was the only one. to
Yeah.
get booed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why did they get her? I still don't get how she
I
fit
don't
into
know.
all
There was
this.
a dating.
There was like a rumor.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
a little thing there, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex.
So
Nice.
they were hanging out together in the Hamptons as they went through their divorces together, and their
Right.
friendship was. They were leaning on each other.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
Hey Kim. it's
But my
Tom.
theory about Affleck is that I don't know if you
He
guys
was on
are.
coke.
Well, one, coked out. Two, I don't know if you guys are onto this, but J-Lo recently came out with a documentary, and she's getting so much hate for it because she just comes off as super narcissistic and totally delusional.
It's Paul's girl.
So
Careful.
she's been getting a ton of hate, especially on TikTok. So I'm wondering, like, is Ben just like so enraged about what's happening to his wife that like he was going
using
on
that.
a rant
Yeah.
about the commenters,
Yeah.
but really like it was about Jennifer, not Tom.
The keyboard
Right.
warrior.
Yeah.
An
you
audience
know?
of one, as they say. I see.
And then plus cocaine
It's
and
for
some
Jen.
drinks.
Let's go. Game.
Dana White did that too. He used his 1 minute to take a shot at Netflix.
Who did?
Dana White.
Oh, I don't.
You didn't see
Oh,
him?
yeah.
I
Did
saw
you
not
Dana
see
White, but I didn't catch.
He was
the
on the
Netflix
down
thing.
list for
Yeah.
what I heard. The ups and the downs.
No, he was
on the
okay.
downs.
He was fine.
For what he did, he was fine.
But he needed to be there for another crucial joke that I don't know if it was Andrew Schultz or Tony Hinchcliffe making about robbing a Brazilian at a Hoffa purse.
Oh, that
Like,
was
I lost
awesome.
my mind for
that
that
was a
one.
great line. That was a great line.
This was like my
I just
Super
lost my
Bowl.
mind. I couldn't. I just had to take a minute away from
I
this
really
thing.
did. Like, I think, not to be dramatic, I think it was good for the country. I really do. I think we needed that laugh.
The Tom Brady roast.
No
bringing
extra
it-
drama at all.
Bringing us back from the brink.
But going back to what Deuce said earlier, I think for Patriots fans, this was cathartic.
It was kind of a lot of the stuff I hoped I would get out of the dynasty, like the closure and
Yeah.
the like kumbaya, and that scratched the itch for me. It did.
Even the dynasty got shots taken
Yeah.
at it,
Oh,
which
yeah.
would, I mean,
Bill, that was
Great
good.
joke.
yeah, it was good stuff. So, if people want to comment on it, you're free to do so. We'll be here.
I'd like to hear
until
from people
2
who
o'clock.
hated it. I mean, we just haven't
Aaron
heard enough from
Hernandez's
people.
fiance and Giselle
Yep, those are
Yeah.
the two. Those are the two.
very publicly hated it.
Like, I can understand Aaron Hernandez not like, but why were you watching? Like, why would you want to have anything to do?
also, like
Yeah.
to say like her dad was her hero, and now this is. It's like.
Yeah, I
she's
doubt
gonna
that she
find out about
watched
the
it.
other
She
stuff,
probably
too.
heard about all of the
Maybe.
shots. Like
Right.
I feel like I didn't see
Yeah.
1 second,
Yeah.
and I feel like
You saw enough.
every single one of the stories you guys have just told, I have either seen on Twitter or heard the clips on the radio.
I don't think Giselle cheating on Tom got enough airwave though. I think her PR team has some friends that it seemed like such a quick like little TMZ Friday news dump, never got any play. But that's why I think like this was a roast about Tom Brady, but I really think it was a roast about Giselle. And I mean, your actions have consequences. If you cheat on Tom Brady, like
Giselle,
find
she
out.
that karate man.
Karate man.
You're probably right.
Karate Man.
There
There was
right
a,
on
and
the
like
inside.
Tom's last line of that roast is, "The true love of my life, football."
Right.
That's the last thing he says. I don't know. I read into that stuff.
Yeah.
But
You know, and if you look at the credits, Tom was up there as one of the executive
hell yeah.
producers, so he had
Hell
something to do with the making of
Yeah,
this thing.
yeah.
You know,
Getting some of the money out of it too.
Yeah.
That's,
Rottenberg, GZL,
Yeah.
however he was pronouncing the
GZL.
name.
but highly recommended if you want to. I assume Netflix is showing it. You know, you can see it anytime. Yeah.
yeah, it is still all right.
just
good.
you know, if you got the kids in the room though, earmuffs. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mature adult audiences only, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Especially when Nikki Glazer goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And according to Mike Florio, Tom Brady admitted to Deflategate during this.
Right.
But you know,
Oh man,
because everything else was a joke except that.
the most humorless person in football. Mike
That's
Florio.
dumb.
Yeah.
That is really dumb. But,
So-
you know,
So we got that, and then
Florio.
back to football. Although this was football related, but Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the rookie minicamp.
Yep.
And we'll be there with bells on in terms of content, bringing you content throughout that. Excited to get
Yeah.
to see the guys out in the field.
I don't even know if you guys have, because I remember one of my favorite things when I was a blogger boy was where I wait for these rookie pictures to come out because you guys know me. I like numbers and helmets. So I would always do like a rookie eyeball test post.
Yep.
But I don't remember seeing these lately. Like I don't remember really a lot of content coming out of, I mean, we're supposed to watch practice on Saturday, but I even remember in recent years not really seeing much of anything.
Well,
coming
it's
out
it's
of
really
this.
not much. I mean,
Helmets and numbers.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
the practice itself is like an hour. It's not your typical.
This is how we warm
Yeah.
up. You guys get on that line
Yeah.
and lift your
But
knees up.
In
you
all
know,
seriousness, that is
Static
what it
stretching.
is.
writing down like.
They're showing you what the
Right.
process is,
Yeah.
what the routine will
Right.
be, and
Can we keep stats? Is there stats to be kept? Can we do
I will
like
guarantee
Somebody
somebody,
will.
Drake
will.
May
I'll
ace
guarantee
to
you somebody
stretching?
will.
He can lift his leg really high.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they'll go
hamstring
through like
flexibility.
the
Left
the whole
leg needs
routine.
work.
Yeah.
But not Joe Milton.
You know,
Man, he can bend down and touch his toes, no
You know,
problem.
backflip, I heard.
There'll be some plays that are, like some basic plays that are, so they can sort of. This is something that Bill really credited Brady with, was his ability to sort of take control of that group, his rookie. I almost said his freshman year, his rookie year, and that sort of showed him some leadership and potential.
Yeah,
Get them ready.
They
'cause
do
then-
this now so that when the whole team's there, they're not
They're
learning
not-
it for the first time.
And they're not keeping everybody behind.
Right.
You know?
Right. And then our first OTA, full team. Well, it's not full team. It's still voluntary, I would guess. But Monday, May 20th. Then, so week after, so 2 weeks from yesterday. So that's when those guys will be ready.
I'll be interested to see Gerard Mayo for the first time as head coach out there. Like, what's his demeanor?
Yeah.
You know, how does he present himself? How does he
Twirl the
Like,
whistle.
what's his thing? You know?
Yeah. Does he
Yeah.
float around from position to position? Does he
Yeah.
gravitate towards the defense a little bit? Is it
Yep.
Alex Van Pelt show?
Yep.
On offense is where do those guys go? Those little things, but I love this stuff. I mean, it's you don't build it up too much as like we're gonna watch football, but it's just a chance to sit outside and watch some of these guys just move around a little bit. So I still think it's interesting.
Also, there's a report. Not that we didn't know, but the official search for
Yeah, nobody
the
wants to interview.
general manager or head of football operations, whatever you want to call it, has started.
According to Jonathan Jones.
Yeah.
Simply
not,
by
not that one.
Simply,
Right.
Simply by asking, does that fulfill a need to? I think they have to. With the renewal,
Yeah, they have to do that.
But if you ask somebody and they're like, "Thanks, no
Why,
thanks," does that
So
count?
is there an update to that story?
There was someone from the.
Well, there's two
two
people that
people who have
declined.
turned them down. One of which was from the Cardinals, and I think one was. I don't know where the other one
Trey
was.
Brown
yeah.
and I forget the other one.
Yeah, Trey Brown was today. So
I
yeah,
did, I did not see that. Okay.
But everything sounds like
missing
everyone
everything.
expects it to be Elliot Wolf, which I think
I would think.
Why wouldn't?
But I
it
would
be?
think that's why people are turning it down.
Right. They're like, we get it. We're not going to be a
Right.
We're not
Quentin
going to play a
Harris.
charade.
I'm not going to be your. Yeah.
Now, charade, that was well used.
We're going to be a pawn in your charade.
Correct. Yeah.
The other one was Quentin Harris, former Cardinals VP of Player Personnel.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's like how badly could it have gone for them to be like Elliot? No. Like, I mean, he really would have.
So far,
We would all have to be like F draft.
Yeah.
I mean, there still are people giving them Fs, but I mean, reasonably, I don't know how bad you could have screwed that up to lose the job at that point. I mean,
Yeah. The only way that he doesn't get it is there's stuff that happened that we don't even have a clue about. And it's
Right.
not the outward things. It's relationship.
being a pain in the
it's-
ass.
Yeah, it's screwing things
He's
up.
not collaborating
Yeah.
well. That's probably.
But like we would have heard
He's not
about
playing
that.
nice with others.
So I think it's a done deal.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, it
I-
seems
I
like
don't know.
everybody else thinks that too. That's
The question is, what will his title be? Probably not general manager.
What? So why is that? Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that general manager, I guess, connotes, overall, like I'm in charge of everything, and I don't think that's the way the Crafts want it.
VP player
But,
personnel like
The
Pioli is that?
title will connote whatever you want it to.
True.
Connote.
Yeah,
I'm not
but I
sure- not
but I
sure
I'll
think
look that one
not
up.
sure
You know,
I ever
when
used that word. Not
general
sure I just used it
manager,
correctly.
I think general manager is just too broad for their liking, and I think they want
Yeah.
something that pinpoints what their responsibility is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
vice president of player personnel or football operations, or
Was that what Casario was? Did Casario get that title officially, or
I think he did eventually.
I think they were
Yeah.
director of player personnel. Yeah, and I'm curious with Mike. Does that satisfy any kind of search?
Yeah.
If you can't get anybody to
We
come in-
tried.
if you can't get anybody to come in and interview, like, what do you have to do?
Yeah.
Pick up some guys off the
I know
street.
I was gonna say some
Right.
random guy.
I mean, like what? Where's the loophole?
Right. Tell us about your experience. I work at the car wash down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people don't want to do it because, I mean, just look at the whole way it's unfolded.
Well, it's
you
like
know?
you're gonna get
Yeah.
paraded out, have to take a flight, probably go through this process when you know
Right.
it's someone else's job already.
It's got to be someone to convince themselves, like, well, this is good experience for me to get
Well,
out there
that's
and
Yeah.
meet other
that's
people.
what they say
Yeah.
is go anyway just to get the reps.
Yeah. Was that so? That's like Gerard and the Crafts, and that's who. I mean, it's not obviously it's not Elliot Wolf interviewing him, but it did sound like they were interested in maybe hiring someone additional too. Like it wasn't necessarily.
Elliot Wolf. So who would you have taken at 3?
Right. We knew Drake May for 2 months. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just it always felt weird to me when they said like this is how it's going to be kind of set up, but we're going to reevaluate things after the draft. So I don't know. I'd like to just try to get this thing wrapped up with and give Elliot Wolf an official title and get everything
Well, let's get
set
going.
and
And
get going.
as I read, there's a lot of jobs in limbo until this gets done.
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
scouting people too. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
those guys go after draft, right? Like that's the time when you
Yeah, it all depends on contract status too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and if they were going to hire someone different, which I think we all agree we don't anticipate, yeah, I would think all of those guys would be open.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. What else? So we got
So there
Brady
were
roast. We got
little
rookie
minor-
mini camp. We've got GM search.
Minor move. They shrunk the quarterback room by 1.
Yep.
They let go of Nathan Rourke, which Mike and I are not overly disappointed in because we deal with the mailbag every week.
Yeah.
And I would say at least one a week thinks
Oh.
that they wasted a pick at 3 with Drake May because they have Nathan Rourke on the roster.
Wow.
I'm not exaggerating.
No, there was.
Is this Mr. and Mrs. Rourke? Or?
Maybe.
It might be.
Maybe.
Aunt Rourke, something.
Yeah.
Or someone that kid's been in the community, like doing events with Donna's team every day, like probably 2 weeks leading up to the draft too.
So, you
someone
think
you met.
They've got 4 right now. Do you think
Yeah.
like Bailey Zappi, for example? Do you think you keep him just through camp, just to have 4 quarterbacks, or?
I think you have to see. I mean, I think you got to see with Milton how much he
Yeah.
really gets it. I mean, I think it's a possibility that Milton gets cut and maybe ends up back on the practice squad. Sorry.
I mean, at the risk of drawing anyone's ire, I mean, yeah.
But you gotta you gotta make sure you got another guy, and I don't know. I mean, I Brissett and is a great piece at the top. I think that just sets the tone. You've got some leadership there. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if at some point it's just Drake May and Brissett, and even if May is starting, but
I mean,
yeah.
there's a possibility. I mean, I think that there was an immediate report after the draft that there was like some efforts to trade Zappi. I'm not sure, what kind of trade value he has, but I would hold on to him at least in the short term just because of that. Like, if you don't want to play Drake May, let's just say that they, want to sit him.
Yep.
So it's easy. You have Brissett. Well, what if something happens to Brissett and you want to sit Drake May?
Yeah.
At least you have a guy who's started, 12 games
yeah.
in his
Yeah.
career. It's better than the alternative.
Right.
If you don't, and the alternative would be you don't want to play your rookie 3rd overall pick and now you have to because you don't have any
Yeah,
options.
right. Brissett gets hurt in training camp, and you're like, what the hell?
So I would hold on to Zappe at least initially.
Yeah.
And maybe he plays well in training camp. Maybe he gets some preseason success, and all of a sudden someone loses a backup or something, and
Is there any
maybe
chance
you can get a
Yeah.
a late round pick for him.
Yep.
Now we know Jacoby Brissett's he seems to be a good teammate, good leader. But is there any chance that Bailey Zappe's a better quarterback?
Then Brissett?
Yeah.
I would say no.
I think it's pretty close. I looked at the numbers. Obviously, Brissett has way more experience.
Yep.
But at their best, they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
So, just throwing that out there.
We'll see. I mean, it's going to just be interesting to me how they divide up the reps and get a look at all these guys. And it's you have a new offense, so everybody needs reps. And I mean, Jacoby Brissett is supposed to be the starter, so how much of a chance does Bailey Zappe even really get? I mean, is he going to be kind of the forgotten man during when the people you're really interested to see? He's probably last, even though he's probably third in the draft pick. Yeah. So it's you got to get Brissett ready. You want to see May start to develop. You're starting to pour into Joe Milton and see, if he can start to put anything together. So it's gonna be a hard position, I think, for Bailey Zappe to, kind of make the most of his chances, because I don't know how many high quality reps he's gonna get, especially if there's like a joint practice or something. You're going live. Nobody wants to see Bailey Zappe. Sorry, buddy, but you want to see how the first offense looks, and then you want to see how's Drake May developing. Can Joe Milton figure out an offense? Can he, look like he fits in?
Let's take Fred's hypothetical another step, because I just like to throw crap out there. What if he's better than Brissett? What if Fred's hypothetical is
it's interesting.
true?
I think I probably have to come at it like, man, Brissett's been really bad. That's how I think it would have to start for me.
Have you I know. Has anybody watched Jacoby Brissett since he left New England?
Well, I'm just saying, to get to that point, it's hard to say how could Bailey Zappe look better than Brissett if he's barely practicing or doing anything? I'm just saying.
Yeah,
logically.
So you're saying because he won't have a chance to look better. I think Fred's thing is not all that far fetched. I think Brissett's better. I think he's better, but not by much.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get an opportunity to sort of have us magpies in the tent saying, wow, Zappe, they might as well go with Zappe. He's better.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll give us enough opportunities to see that. I agree with you on that, Mike.
Hard to get to that point, but you also wonder what's this offense going to be like for Zappe? Maybe he's better in it. Maybe he's a little bit more comfortable.
If you're the Patriots, do you leak it out that he is doing well just to raise his value in the trade market?
Sure. I just think, and we talk about it all the time, drafting quarterbacks, it's good business. Trying to, unload a quarterback that you might not need for assets. I think you should constantly be in that club. Now, the Joe Milton thing, that might be a little bit extreme in that end, but I just think generally, if you're developing quarterbacks, you've got quarterbacks to offer the rest of the league. It's a good thing for everybody. So I would be very cautious. I was cautious with Mac Jones too. As bad as he was, and as much as I thought it was broken here, you don't want to be flippant about an asset at that position, And that's when we get into the Milton stuff. That's the only place where I can kind of live and be like, okay, the most important thing to the Patriots is not that Drake May develops a quarterback. The most important thing to the Patriots is that they find a quarterback come hell or high water. It doesn't have to be necessarily Drake May, but we don't have to get into all the the psychological elements of that. But I think that is the bottom line, though. This team needs a quarterback.
All right. Anything else league-wide we need to just put on the table?
Well,
no,
you can do that first. We'll talk about the schedule.
Schedule next week, it seems like.
It doesn't seem like next week.
It seems like it, right? That's what Florio said.
Yeah. Well, hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle, the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places that we've never gone on the Brady roast.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, Nikki Glazer definitely went to some of those places.
All right. Okay, so we might as well get to the listeners, right?
Sure, yeah.
See
Well, to Paul's point, the schedule next week. I think that's an interesting thing. There's definitely some interesting.
People continue to talk about London.
Yeah.
Reese threw out the possibility of a West Coast, Arizona, San Francisco twin bill. So staying out west
out there,
for a week.
You said we're like the Beatles in London, right, Paul? Is that? Maybe
Paul was.
Yeah. I was. I was Paul.
Paul and Andy wouldn't come out from behind the velvet ropes.
I did. Andy wouldn't.
Yeah,
he
Paul.
made me go and get the beer all the time.
All
But then
I don't want to talk to these people. They talk funny.
but in
These are your people. Go talk to them.
correct, and I would go out and I would start talking, and then sure enough, people would just bringing me beers. It was like the greatest thing ever.
You're like a hot girl at the bar.
I don't know about the hot part or the
That's
girl
why
part.
I said like. It was a
Like.
metaphor.
Oh, people just
I was
buying
hot,
you
I was
drinks.
hot back then.
Telling you how
This
great
is like
you are.
09.
I love you.
I still had my fastball back then.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Webradio@patriots.com is the email address. Phones are stacking up, so let's get to them. Nelson's in L.A. What's up, Nelson? Hey, Nelson.
Hello.
What's up, man? How y'all doing today?
Hey,
All
Nelson.
right.
Y'all doing good?
Yes.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Hey, man, I
appreciate
enjoyed
you.
that comedy thing this weekend. I went to it. It was fun.
Oh, you were
went to
there?
it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. What? Tell us what that was like.
Hey, my favorite part when she said, I can't believe you fought for Bitcoin. Even Gronk wouldn't fall for it. The money is not.
That was great. That was a
good
great
line.
line.
Yes,
But
yes.
I'm more interested, like, being in the arena. What was that like?
It was nice. It was good. I liked it. Like, for me to not to see Tom Brady and everybody play, because I'm from Los Angeles. I could never go see Tom Brady play. So for me, it was good. It was like a birthday gift for me.
How much did it cost to get in, if you don't mind me asking?
My ticket was $160.
Okay.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
All the dynasty was right there. Gronk. I was surprised that Gronk and Bill Belichick and all of them were right there.
Yeah. It was, what? So, I know they were drinking down there, but where you were sitting, like, was there food and stuff? Like, was it like a normal
Yeah.
sporting event?
Should be.
Yeah.
2 drink minimum.
Yeah, they had food, they had drinks, they had all that.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was good. The chairs were comfortable. Everything was nice.
That's cool.
They have like souvenirs or anything, like
Hey, but-
T-shirts? Or...
Yeah.
Hey, I love y'all podcast. I always listen to y'all, even though I don't call most of the time. But, Patriots all the way.
All right. Thanks,
Good
Nelson.
job.
Sounds like he wanted to go.
Thank you,
All right.
Nelson.
Ray's in Atlanta. What's
It's
up,
kinda
Ray?
Cool that he was there.
That's
though.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Ray.
It's like a cup,
sure I would've
like
paid
a memorial.
Not sure I would
like,
have paid $1.60.
Yeah, the
for it,
souvenir
but
cup that you
Yeah.
get to
Right,
refill
a roast
for
cup.
$1.
Yeah.
Did we
I
lose
guess,
Ray?
I guess Ray's gone. I don't
Ray.
know. Ray? Ray?
People will come,
No.
Ray.
Ray's gone.
People will
Ray's
most
gone.
definitely come.
Ford in Savannah. That's Georgia, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Theme.
Says, I love the roast. It had me cracking up. It's a testament to how great all these guys are. It felt like Festivus, a great airing of grievances.
Yeah.
Gronk's glass shot spike being the fear of strength, or the feat of strength. These guys have done everything as good as they have ever done all down the line, and this was another example of that. Takes humor and real humility for all these guys to do this. Who else has climbed to the very top of the profession and been open to put it all out there publicly? Can't say enough how much I respect all of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about that yesterday, just how, like, who else could create this effect? And, like, what other athlete? And I don't
Like
think
get
there
roasted?
is any. Yeah. Bill Simmons had a good point on his show about how, like, you couldn't really do it with an NBA player because their egos are so big. Like, it would be hard to get the right guy and to do it the way they did it yesterday.
Kevin
or
Durant.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
He'd be a puddle in the
storm
corner.
out. Storm
Kevin
out.
Durant wouldn't
Kevin
be able
Durant
to
would
wait for
storm
his
out
turn.
in the opening credits.
He wouldn't be able to wait for his turn. He would just be stealing the mic to clap back at everyone.
Drake and Kendrick.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's a whole thing, huh?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well,
Evan was breaking it down for me up above.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I got enough of that at home.
Alec in Connecticut, did anyone else feel like they finally got closure after the roast? We talked about that earlier. I've been waiting for this. I thought the roast was very good, and I give a lot of credit to Bill for all these appearances he's doing. Side question, in 10 years, could Brady be the coach of the Patriots? No.
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 So I saw
Part owner, man.
on where's this? NBC Sports Boston. I
Your
forgot
shows.
the Celtics.
One of
Not
your
my
TV
show
shows?
anymore. I don't do that at one. Yeah, I don't do
EE?
that. I think I
Early
aged.
edition?
I aged out of the demographic.
Trenny-
I think. They don't
Trenny
have me
didn't
on
like you no
anymore. But I heard Holly and Felger sort of getting into their show, and they let off with the roast, and Holly just continuing something that Fred and I have been talking about a lot, like with the Wickersham stories and all that stuff. It's just like it was another validation of all of the stuff that we've talked about for 10, 15 years of being accurate.
Yeah.
And so, like Mike's point about there being a little bit of a cathartic nature, like if you didn't believe that this stuff was really real, like all along, then it was very cathartic for you because now you've finally accepted it.
Yeah, right.
So now you can move on. But like, I don't know, like if you didn't get it from watching the documentary, and you didn't get it from reading, 5 different ESPN exposés, then I'm not sure you're ever gonna get it until they finally said it themselves, and now you can sort of move on.
For those of you who don't know, Alex is the snake oil salesman who transformed Tom into a total f***ing weirdo.
That was a good line. Good line.
It'd be interesting to me how this kind of feeds into June 12th too, and this is almost like we all like kind of got some stuff out, and hopefully June 12th becomes more kind of celebration
Freddie,
without
you want to give the
we
the
had
line?
the Brady roast. Yeah. Now we'll have the Brady toast.
It's so funny hearing it the second time.
Yeah, he workshopped it a little bit, but
I believe you, Alex. I believe you.
No, we have the Brady Day coming here on June 12th. It'll be very different than what we watched Sunday night, but it's going to be another great event for Tom.
Yeah.
The few surprises. I don't want to give it away.
No.
Yeah.
But hopefully every bit as much fun and a lot of the same personalities. And yeah, it's the summer of Brady, the spring of Brady continues.
Spee in Fresno, curious if Evan watched the roast. Did he watch?
He did.
Yeah.
Or if he's too much of a football guy to be bothered with amusement.
Well, I will say I saw one tweet from Evan, and it was the lamest tweet ever, and I'll say it to him when he gets here. The best line of the night was Bill Belichick saying that Rodney Harrison should be in the Hall of Fame. That was the biggest joke of the night, is that Rodney's not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
That's he got the football comment.
That's your takeaway from what everybody agrees is one of the more entertaining nights that they've seen.
Right.
Bill had like 6 jokes.
He likes ball.
That's not actually
The
a joke.
best football-related joke I think that Bill had was when, obviously, him and Danny Amendola have some animosity, and Danny's been taking his shots respectively, and clearly Bill is listening because it took Bill 3 sentences to just destroy Danny Amendola about his production. It was so funny. I loved it.
Spee says, sometimes I wonder if Evan is as allergic to fun as Eric was. Anyway, Nikki Glazer was amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
Big winner.
I heard.
I would say from Sunday night was Nikki Glazer.
Yeah. By the way, I heard Eric got a job communications director for like the mayor.
I didn't
know
that.
The mayor of Providence, or the mayor of a smaller.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't be Providence.
Small town mayor.
Yeah.
Can't have gotten a job for the mayor of Providence.
Hold on. Let me.
Wow. I didn't. I'm gonna.
I thought there was I was waiting for the punch.
Be North Providence?
I was waiting for the toast and the roast. Like I was waiting for the rest of that
never
punchline.
arrived.
and it never
Who's
came.
Mayor Smiley?
That's Providence.
Guy Smiley?
So he's Eric as director of communications.
Wow.
For Mayor Smiley. So congratulations.
So he's in like the West Wing of Providence. If they made a West Wing, he would be a prominent character, Eric Scalavino.
I really thought that I was safe in not being passed by that one, but add another one to the list.
Why, you think communications director is bigger than the job you have right now?
Yes, I'm sure it pays more.
Okay. I'm not sure about that, but
Government.
anyway.
I'm sure it has the ability to earn more in the
That
future
government
as well,
pension,
which
though.
I don't have.
Yeah. But that's pretty cool.
It's got some notoriety too. Like Paul, people walk around and they're like, "Hey, is that Eric Scalavino?" Like from the mayor's office. He's a powerful man now.
Yeah.
He runs the show.
He's going to be running like the press conferences with his binder.
Don't you feel like Providence is all going to somehow hate him at some point?
briefings.
Like he's gonna be like staunch for something that's completely unpopular, and he's like, they just have to eat their vegetables and deal with it. Like like who is this guy?
I'm so excited for this. He's going to be on WPRO now giving interviews.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
Right. It's like Rhode Island. Like
I will call in.
It's not like one of those shows where they grill you and they put you, and you have to like take political stands and stuff.
Good for Eric. Sounds like
He's going to get listeners call.
Stuff to do with cats, probably. There'll be some kind of like initiative with cats.
Oh, yeah. They're going to start a whole new,
and they'll be asking him about.
Strays.
And so we understand, Eric, you're also writing a book about Africa. Tell us more about this.
Right.
It's been in the works for 20 years.
Sneaky. Sneaky
I couldn't
negative.
help. I couldn't help it. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Just picturing Eric suddenly.
Fred and I are right out there. Everybody sees
In the thick of
shots
it.
that we take. You're
No,
like,
I'm
you lay in the weeds
I'm a
behind the
sniper.
scenes.
I'm a sniper. You know, you don't even
Sniper
realize it.
fire.
Then all of a sudden,
Exactly.
Snake in the
boom,
grass.
right in the head. There you go.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline, web radio at patriots.com. Let's see. Ashton writes in, do you guys think now that Belichick is gone, will Drake May have to earn his number in training camp by starting with the number 50 like we've done in the past? Nope. We already know he's number 10.
Those days are gone.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm going to die on the hill on this, that Bill did that to mess with the media, not to make rookies earn numbers.
Really?
I'm completely convinced of it.
Yeah.
Just all of a sudden, 16 years into his tenure, he starts giving rookies numbers in the 50s.
Wow.
I think that was an attempt to obfuscate. If you remember, it started in the spring with no numbers on the jerseys at all.
Yeah. Well, you can't do that.
The first
Then
year they did
right,
that,
They couldn't.
they had no numbers at all for anybody, veteran or rookie. And then, of course, Fred, insert name here, complained to
Right.
PFWA.
Yep.
And they put numbers on, and they said, I'll show them.
Yeah.
The rookies all had the
But
50s numbers, but it took us, 35 seconds to realize the sequence that they went in.
Right. Oh, it was just in
So
sequence. Right.
So you figured it out, but
I don't think it was about the media.
I mean, why else would you have no numbers at all for anybody?
Because I think that, he was maybe sensing that these guys are coming in with more attitude than they used to do. And, I want to make sure that they realize that, you have to earn everything with a capital E, not just your job, but everything.
I mean, you are in the majority.
Okay.
You are in the majority. I am in the minority.
I mean, the Cowboys, you're not even allowed to have the star on your helmet, and that's been the tradition forever.
Correct. He didn't just invent it like 17 years in.
No,
that's why I don't buy it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe I buy it.
I think he was annoyed with the amount of attention that we were giving those guys, and he wanted them to earn that attention before, which I think is why they stopped. I mean, for years they had rookie minicamp open for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they stopped.
Yeah.
I think it's all part and parcel to that.
I don't know. I think he might have been a little prescient, and he could see what was coming with these kids coming out of college, and he wanted to make sure that once you get here, you're starting from scratch.
So, Evan, you've been on the show now for 15 seconds, so I want to come clean. I took a rocket shot at you for your tweet about Rodney Harrison and Bill Belichick. I just thought if that was your takeaway from the...
Before the Twitter people be like, oh, Paul, talking crap about
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
I thought that was lame.
Okay.
Well, I said you found the one football thing. You highlighted the one real
Yeah,
football
someone.
thing.
So to give you all
Absolutely.
the background, someone wrote in and said, "Did Evan actually watch or was there just not enough football in it for him?" I go,
They
"Well,
asked if
funny
you
you
were
should
allergic to
ask."
fun.
Well, it's funny because earlier in the day, Jess asked me, she was like, "Are we going to watch the roast?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to watch the roast. I don't have time for that."
What were you doing Sunday night?
Well,
I was watching the
I'm
hockey
getting
game.
there. I didn't. At first, I was like, "There's not enough like nerd football stuff for me. Like it's jokes. Like I don't have time for fun." Yeah, and then there was nothing on. There was nothing on Sunday night, so I was like, "All right, fine. Like we can turn it on." And within 5 minutes, I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad we're watching this. Like this is hilarious."
If I had any idea it was going to be that funny, I would have absolutely watched it. I just didn't think I had
You still
very.
can. It's not
Oh
too
no,
late.
I'll see it. But now it's I mean it's obviously past the time, and I already feel like I saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody is talking about every joke like it's
No, there's so many
the original
layers,
joke.
There's so many lines.
Well, and also, when
Alex's
you watch
life
it,
was changed by the roast.
it's
so
unbelievable.
funny.
You know I'm destined
I
to
haven't
watch
laughed
this, and
that
I'm going to
hard
say,
in
is that
so
it?
long.
She won't watch Jaws, but the roast.
If
She's
Jaws
had
can
to-
make me laugh like that, I'll watch it
Oh,
every
it
day.
can, but it's not supposed to.
I'm not sure who enjoyed the roast more, male Alex or female Alex.
Oh, man,
I don't know.
Barton
Both
and
of
I
them
were just
are-
retweeting each other all night.
Just-
but when you watch it live, you see the cutaways of the reaction and like, like Gronk and Edelman.
Oh, Gronk. I know.
Yeah.
Gronk.
Stacy.
I just thought Kevin Hart set such a great tone of like, we're going to go there. Like, this is not going to be a PC roast. Like, we are going to, divorce is on the table.
Jiu-jitsu.
Everything's on the table. And we're just going to go after it. And,
Karate.
it was pretty good. There was a couple of acts that I felt like probably didn't need to happen.
Right,
But the people that I wanted to see were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Evan, you excited about rookie minicamp?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I imagine that the 1 hour that it sounds like we're going to be out there for is going to be a whole lot of nothing. But I think it will be good to hear from people. You know, we're going to talk to Gerard Mayo. We're going to talk to Drake May, it sounds like. But in terms of the actual practice, I am expecting this to be literally nothing.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
out of stretch.
It'll be a crawl through. It's not even a walk.
If we get to like setting up who goes where in the huddle, I think it would be wow. Like that's as close to football.
I just want to see him throw the ball, man. Like you know, it's just like in a live setting, you know. And I understand we're not going to see pads and all that, obviously, but just in terms of seeing, I've saw him at his pro day, but it would be great to just get can we get 1 7-on-7 period or something, you know, just to see us. To see him actually throw against competition and not just throw against air would be great.
Yep. All right. Norman writes in earlier conversation about Zappi and Brissett. They may be close in terms of talent. I'm guessing they brought in Jacoby to mentor Drake until he's ready. I can't imagine Zappi is ready to mentor anybody at this point, considering his lack of experience.
I agree with
that. No, that's why I said.
Plus, he wants to play. Like he wants to be the guy.
Yeah.
I agree with that mentality. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, similar to another line
Can we
of
just
thought I
real
had
quick? Why didn't you like my Rodney Harrison tweet?
Because I just think everybody is like falling all over them. I didn't see it, so in full disclosure, I saw your tweet. I didn't see the roast.
I was like,
but everybody was falling all over themselves. Like this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, and this is so funny. And then everyone's like, best line of the night, Belichick stumping for Rodney Harrison.
100%.
You think that was the best line of the night?
That's what he tweeted.
Was it the funniest line of the night? Of course not.
No, he didn't say.
Was it?
But
Was
it was
it
true.
the-
He said the best.
Nothing's
line.
been more
Was it the best
true.
line? Nothing has been more true. Out of all the BS that they
I did
joked
not
about, that was
over-exaggerate.
the most truth that was spoken on that stage was what the heck with the Pro
Why not
Football
do
Hall
that?
of Fame and Rodney Harrison. Love it.
That and
Love
Bill
it.
because of me.
Love it. Loved every second of it.
Okay.
There you go.
So I didn't overstate it. I didn't misrepresent
No.
it. That's
no,
what he said.
I'm owning it.
Not at all.
100%.
That's what he said.
855-PATS-500. Let's go all the way to Spain, where James is there. Hey, James.
Hey, man. I have a question here about our draft class, I guess. I'm wondering if we know anything about this guy, Marcellus Dial. If he has any potential move over top. We kind of lacked the rangy over top safety since Devin McCourty left, and I really want to see Duggar and the other guy they're trying to move to safety play closer to the line.
Mapu.
They seem to be doing better there. What do you guys thought?
I would just say I'm writing his profile. I talked to the coach Shane Beamer about him a little bit. Doesn't really sound. I did ask him that about how versatile he is for the secondary. It didn't sound like he really had a lot of high hopes for him being a free safety type, but he did think that he can move around. At the cornerback position, he can play a little bit inside, but he played all outside at South Carolina. And I said to him, I mean, I think there's an opportunity for him. It's Isaiah Bolden, Alex Austin.
At that position, absolutely.
Like one of those guys needs to come out. But I agree though on the point just about free safety. It's how's it going to play out with Mapu? Is he going to get elevated? I just didn't like Duggar last year playing so far from the line of scrimmage so much. It felt like it limited the amount of plays he could make, and really I think the perfect fit was having a Duron Harmon, just a guy on the back end for third downs to really let those guys, Peppers and Duggar roam and make plays and do what they do best.
Okay.
Do you think that's something Jonathan Jones would switch over the top, or do you see something else on the roster already?
I mean,
with some potential?
I could see that a little bit on
I
third
just
down.
don't think they can afford to.
But
Like who
Yeah.
plays
Yeah.
corner?
Yeah. I don't necessarily understand the screaming desire. I feel like we hear that a lot about Jonathan Jones moving to free safety, and it's like he's a really good corner,
and he's getting better, right?
Yeah, I mean
Well,
he's
probably going the other way at this stage.
He's definitely. I mean, like we all love Gonzo, but Gonzo's only played 4 NFL games in his career so far. Like Jonathan Jones is Mr. Reliable for them in that
He's just so
cornerback room, and
fast.
I don't know how where you turn if it's not him and
Thanks,
Gonzo
James.
being the top 2 guys.
How was Gonzo, by the way?
He was good. Yeah, he was deferred to the coaching staff and the medical staff about his shoulder and participation in the offseason and in OTAs and stuff like that. It was weird, though, because he kind of caught himself because he sat down and he said, I'm healthy, ready to go. And then later on, he was like, well, I'm not saying all that, like he's going to be a full participant and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But it definitely seems like he feels like he caught it in the past, the shoulder. And it seems like he feels like he's ready to go.
Todd's in North Carolina. Hey, Todd.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Okay.
Hello, Todd.
My question for you is I've heard all sorts of different reports on the draft grade, and then I've heard different rankings and stuff, but listening to Hart's new show and stuff, and they had a guest on, and he was saying, yeah, they're about 31st is where I rank them out of the 32 teams. So just going into this year, what do you think we should be expecting? Like, what should we be happy with?
Competitive team that's tough to beat and, just that can score some points again after last year. I mean, that's, baseline of it, but I don't know. Everyone gets caught up in these rankings right now. I think the Patriots, they've got some interesting guys to me now that they didn't really have last year, and that's what the hope is, that these young guys develop, and sooner the better. You know?
Yeah. So you're looking for work to be done then, building the team a little bit further, because I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't even know if they're a 500 team, but if they're competitive, like you say, I think I will be very happy.
Yeah, you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah. I wouldn't get too much caught up in the record in May right at the moment. Right now, I feel like it's all about eye tests. Like, does Drake May look like he can play? Does some of these receivers look like they can play in the league? And then we'll worry about playoffs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to look at it.
Thanks,
Do they
Todd.
have players on the team today that are new, that weren't there last year, that look like they will be contributors?
Yeah.
And if that's the answer to that is yes, when we get to like November, December, I would say that's a positive sign. I used to tease about this all of last year about the competitive, and I never said the Patriots weren't competitive. I said all games are competitive in the NFL for the most part. They were competitive last year. They just lost every one of them, right? So I'm not going to get tied up in, well, they only lost 21-17. They're competitive. But to Evan's point, is Polk and Baker two of your best three receivers? I think that would be a really positive sign, right?
Yeah.
Does Caden Wallace have the ability to play left tackle? Even if he's not starting right away, but you watched him. You watch him, and he's playing left tackle, and when he plays, he's not out of place. That's a positive sign. Yeah. Now, you might go 5-13 or whatever that 5-12, math tough. But is that better than last year? I would say yes.
Yeah.
If those things are happening.
Yeah, you look at a team, so many teams that break out, it usually starts at the tail end of the year before.
Yeah.
Like remembering like the Lions a couple years ago, they almost made the playoffs. I think they went on like a nice winning streak at the end of the year, and then they had another good draft class that offseason, and then all of a sudden now they're a team that's for real. I feel like the same thing with the Patriots. If their arrow is pointing upward and guys are younger are contributing, and Drake May's playing and he's looks the part, then it might not be this year, but 2025 might be a year where they could start to talk about playoffs.
It's really
and all that kind of stuff.
simplistic, but Evan just hit it. Like, if the quarterback is playing and ascending as you get down the stretch, I don't care what the record is. That's a good sign.
I think I'm excited to see these receivers because I'm realizing with Patriots training camp, I've never really seen a good receivers at Patriots training camp. Like, we've seen them from other joint practices. Certainly Devontae Adams was, just crazy to watch him practice. But, there haven't been, like, Devontae Parker was like the crown jewel of their acquisitions over the last few years when I've been here watching training camp. So I'm just so curious how Polk and Baker stand out. What do they look like?
That's a good point, because I had said if they're like two of your best three receivers, and you're right, that's probably not going to be good enough. Like, are they
need
good?
to look like.
Are they good?
These guys are good.
Yeah, you said it better than I did.
Where it's like I've seen Nelson Aguilar, I've seen Kendrick Bourne, and they're fine, but I'd like to see somebody, not to say that any of those guys are going to be Devontae Adams, but like that just jumps off the field at you. You look at that and you're like, this guy's a nightmare. You can see it from one drill watching it. And, Kendrick, all those other guys that I named, it's kind of up or down. And if they're in the right place in the play, they'll make the catch and maybe they'll get you some extra yards. But there were no real guys that I've seen in training camp that were game changers. And, like, this guy's a problem. Like, I haven't experienced that yet as a member of this, team covering the Patriots. I haven't seen it.
I tell you, I said it last, but Baker's attitude sort of intrigues me. Like, this guy thinks he's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, he's got a little edge to him, and You know, we'll see. I know. I said boom or bust at the time. I know some other people said that too, but I mean, they need a boom. They need to hit on one of these receivers at some point.
Yeah.
It's just been so long.
Yep. Mike writes in, he didn't like the roast. Well, he said,
Nice.
Oh, we found one.
he said a good roast can be done without the vulgarity. The F word is thrown around loosely, and people tend to laugh no matter the punchline. Call me a prude, but I never would have let my children or grandchildren watch such vulgarity. Class has been thrown out the window. One man's opinion.
Okay.
Again, though,
I would never tell anybody how to parent,
yeah.
but I don't think you should be letting children watch
Yeah,
roasts.
I
Listen,
wouldn't let my kids
vulgar
watch
or
it
not.
either.
That was
I
not
loved
for the
it.
children.
If Jeffrey Ross is involved, don't
Oh,
watch if you're
yeah.
worried about that.
But I mean,
because that's what he
vulgarity
does.
aside, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
If the
very
F word-
disrespectful.
If
You know
the
what I
F
mean?
word was
Right.
all he was specifically claiming about of everything else.
Yeah,
that
no,
was
all
said.
the. I mean, look, there's a lot of sex jokes. Obviously, there was F words. The only time that I felt like it went a little far for me, just as a Jewish person, we start bringing up Hitler and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I thought that entire set between those two guys could have. I was like,
I caught that
I'm
on the
so
radio.
out.
They played that, and I mentioned that to you guys yesterday. I just didn't find, and I can understand where you're coming from as a Jewish person.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I didn't find it funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what
Like-
about Edelman's line about Jeffrey
Hamas.
Ross?
Yeah, see, that was like from Edelman though.
So it's
Like
okay.
you know, like we're part of the club. You know what
Okay,
I mean?
all right.
And I don't know if those two guys are Jewish or not. But don't like be comparing people to Hitler. It's not even funny. Like
Yeah,
that was
it's
to
not.
Paul's point.
It's
Like
not
it wasn't
funny.
even funny.
I
you know?
expected more from Burt Kreischer. That
Yeah.
should have been
I mean,
funnier.
Chrysler does sound Jewish, so maybe he is a Jew. But that's besides the point.
All right. Let's see. Oh, this is a story that I forget who wrote it, but Calvin Anderson.
Yeah.
Chris
Theo
Price.
writes in, I was wondering if you guys watched the video from Calvin Anderson on his illness last year.
I did not, but he had malaria. Like that's like
Yep.
not your run of the mill like
Nope.
malady.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alex had been hoping to write that
I
story.
tried to write this story, and I faced a roadblock. So it was really nice to
So,
open the
Alex-
clips today and
Alex,
see that story written.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got denied.
If you'd like to,
Was it a timing thing? You think he wasn't ready at that point?
I don't know, because they restructured his contract a short time later. So
Yeah.
that was my first. Oh, interesting.
yeah. Well, I can give you a dossier of stories that I've pitched,
Yep.
written,
Add mine to that pile.
taken part in, and only to see them come out in other places
Mm.
first. It's not the first, it's not the last, and do not take it personally because it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Malaria.
But I'm annoyed.
Sure.
Malaria. That's
Yeah.
crazy. He got bit by a
Crazy.
mosquito.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nightmare. And then he got hit in the chest, and then he had like a heart contusion. Was what the second thing was. I mean,
Series of unfortunate incidents.
yeah.
Much like the roast.
And I mean, this is.
I knew you didn't see the roast. I said it upstairs. I was like, "There's no way Paul watched the roast."
Well, he had to press 4 buttons. And he was like, "Screw this."
But not because of that. I just figured they would not do. I
They're
didn't
not
think
gonna
there
be
was
funny.
any
Right.
chance that they would do anything Giselle related.
Oh,
I didn't think
right
there was
off
any
the bat.
chance. And
first
evidently,
joke.
that was the best part.
Yeah.
Like I was way off in my expectations. This was not like a personal crusade. Like I don't believe in that. Like no. Had I known it was going to be as funny as you guys said it was, I'd have been watching.
No,
live.
no, I was more the Netflix of it all that I was worried for you about.
No,
Yeah,
like I may have. No, I was the other night. I was going to say I may have been watching a different streaming service at the time. I was trying to watch the Steve Martin documentary on Apple, but it was not Sunday night.
Yeah.
I heard good things.
Yeah, we were gonna watch that actually.
This is a Celtics question, actually, but maybe somebody here can help Micah in Delaware. Now that we're in the playoffs, I've been wanting to find a good Celtics podcast that has covered similar to PU. The combination of good analysis and decent audio quality seems to be hard to find. Any recommendations?
Alex?
Let Alex start.
Jay King, if you're looking for kind of the vibe we have, I think Jay King, I think he still does it with Sam Packard. I can't attest to Jay King's audio quality.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Corrales still does Locked On
Corrales
Celtics,
does-
right? Which
that's
is
a very technical.
Yeah, that's like if you are into like the
That's
stuff
like an
that
Evan-
I provide.
Catch
That's an Evan
22.
show.
Yeah.
So that's the
Um,
catch 10.
Yeah.
But you'll learn a lot.
Honestly,
He
and
played pro basketball. In
I'm not
Europe,
trying to
so.
take any shots. I love the Celtic speed, and Jay King is
Yeah.
great. That's a great
There's
recommendation.
not great podcasts though.
You got to go national when it comes to the NBA.
Listen to Bill Simmons.
You got you got to
They
go
talk
national.
about the Celtics enough, and his show's been really good lately. I think.
The national basketball podcasts are definitely much better than the local radio or podcast coverage right now.
Zach Lowe too, maybe. I haven't listened to Zach Lowe in a
Yeah,
while.
I listen to Simmons every time the Celtics
Simmons
play a
is
playoff
the-
game and he puts
yeah.
out a pod about it. I listen to Simmons.
Simmons
Yeah.
has been good this year.
How do you find listening to Simmons with football though?
Oh, I shut it off.
No,
but
just NBA.
He
Celtics.
has Russillo on usually to talk hoops and them together. They're really good.
Yeah.
They're really good.
It's funny. He used to drive me nuts with football. I love, Bill Simmons, sure, but like when he talked Patriots, I'm like, I don't think he knows anything.
He used to
about
tell
Patriots.
me Jeff Blake was better than.
Look, but
Yeah,
not,
okay. So it's been going back a while now.
I don't mean
Well, I
this.
saw Fred and Paul's faces when we said that.
Well, I used to work with him. He's another one who dusted me.
I don't mean this to like brag or anything, but the other teams, I don't think they would have a podcast like ours. Like they'd be afraid to.
Yeah.
Like credit to the Crafts for
Yeah.
allowing us to come on and say what we feel and be honest and all that. But like I couldn't see the Red Sox having a podcast like this under their banner.
Not even on Nesson. I mean, they can't
You know.
even do it. They got a TV
Yeah.
network.
If you're looking for
one of a
this,
The
kind.
Red Sox certainly would never do anything with any kind of criticism.
It's Celtics coverage. Like there's a lot of really good written work and like beat reporter type work for the Celtics. When it comes to podcasts, like I said, it's really you really have to listen to the ESPN guys or Bill Simmons or someone like that. Like I remember last offseason when they traded Marcus Smart and for Porzingis, it's like this huge trade, and I'm just looking for people that actually know what they're talking about to listen to about this trade, and I had to go to Simmons and those guys. You definitely can't turn on Paul's station.
Alex, does Brian Barrett still do things?
Yeah, he does the off the pike. I
Yeah,
think, for the
yeah,
ringer.
for the ringer. Yeah. I think
Okay,
so.
so that might be one. Now, most of the ones that I know of are all very analytical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're looking for, then I think all of these would be options. Like Zach Lowe, I completely understand that he knows the league inside and out.
Dry.
But it's
Can be
all it's all just strict data.
Yeah.
Usage and 5-on-5 and ISOs, and if you want to
Yeah.
know all the percentages of all the different things,
He doesn't
That's
talk
why
about
I
Zach Lowe's
said
your
like
guy.
you're
I
gonna
don't know.
get. You're
I
gonna
just
get
like to
the
know who's
fun-
good.
There's no Jaws or anything to talk about Jaws at all? Or
No,
not
Well,
even
that's
that?
the
Not
thing.
Jaws
You
2?
either
I'd rather
have-
listen
Not
to
even Jaws
Felger
2.
making fun of the analytics.
Yeah.
Me
Well,
too.
you're either gonna have like a Jay King podcast where they get loose with it and there's still basketball talk, or the other end of the spectrum where it's very analytical. But like we really blend it all, I think.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
Hockey's got some good ones. I got to shout out my brother-in-law started a podcast with another ref called Chirping Zebras, and they just had Ryan Whitney on it from which is the great, that's like the
Spittin' Chicklets.
Spittin' Chicklets is like the
Before he almost lost his career.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah, Spittin' Chicklets. If you're into the Bruins playoffs
Yeah.
right now, they're great.
And if you want a great podcast, check out Chirping Zebras. They're really funny.
Chirping Zebras.
Two
We
refs
don't-
talking hockey.
We don't give out free
That's good.
advertising here, dudes.
Well,
family.
Why we're pointing everybody in other directions.
I'll bet it's a good podcast. And whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Okay. That's that. And food is here. So we're going to take a break. We're going to eat. We're going to come back. More of your calls and emails here on Patriots Unfiltered.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get my plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
And we are back with another edition of the PU Halftime Show. Matisse Bauman here with Chris Cassidy. And we got some trivia. All right. This is some good stuff here, I think. All right. Question 1. How many career touchdown receptions did Jermaine Wiggins have as a New England Patriot? All right. Question 1. Question 2. How many career playoff rushing touchdowns did Antoine Smith have as a Patriot? And question 3. What jersey numbers did Brian Hoyer wear as a New England Patriot? All right, so Chris, we spent last show talking about the Pats draft class, quick recap, but I also wanted to get into some surprises in the we'll keep it to the first round. Maybe some second if we can think of some. First round of just the whole draft. All right? And I think the first one that comes to people's minds is Michael Penix.
Michael Penix.
And we mentioned this because for the months, the grueling months leading up to the draft, Penix was one of those guys I was like, are the Patriots going to trade back? Because Penix is there, right? Second rounder, right? No, my boy went at 8 to the Falcons, who just paid Kirk Cousins $180 million, $100 million guaranteed.
Before J.J. McCarthy.
Before J.J. McCarthy. And they didn't let Kirk Cousins know they were doing this, which personally I don't care about that. Shut up. You're getting $180 million. That's a separate story. But, guys, Penix, I think he's great. One of the better natural passers in the draft.
I agree.
But once again, injury history, and he's 24. I think he's 24. He's going to be 25.
Yep.
I don't know when he's turning 25. But, instantly Raheem Morris, who we saw at the Combine, nice guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know their GM's name. They were like, he's going to sit. So you're sitting a 24-year-old, and you gave Kirk a 4-year contract, which, if you look into it, potentially could be a 2-year contract. That's still a lot of money to invest in a guy to then go take a quarterback. So I've heard a couple takes of this, but Chris, let me hear what you got on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think Penix honestly isn't a bad pick. I'm not saying it's a bad pick for Atlanta.
There's nothing wrong with taking a quarterback.
Right. And also, if he's there, you're going to take him from the people that also want him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what can we do with this? I just think it's hard to come to terms with the fact that they're going to take him and I'm going to have him develop for a couple years under Kirk Cousins, because you just paid Kirk Cousins about $90 million guaranteed.
And then he wasn't happy.
Right. So it's like, okay, now we have a new quarterback with possible starter potential, and he's going to play behind a Kirk Cousins who's looking to now protect his job.
So I didn't mean to cut you off here.
No, you're
but
good.
I've heard a couple takes on this. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, had a good one. And also I think Ryan Clark said the same thing, which is just look what happened to the Raiders. If you take Kirk Cousins and you think this is going to work out the way it's going to work out, you're hopefully losing at minimum. You're hopefully at minimum winning 10 games.
Yeah.
Which is going to put you in no man's land,
right?
Raiders. And you're screwed. So now when Kirk Cousins, who's 36, off the Achilles, which is not an easy injury to come back.
Horrible.
Say it goes well, then you're just stuck in no man's land, and it's tough. Now, on the flip side, let me just read to you some of the picks that were available after Penix got taken, all right? Instantly after was Roma Dunze.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
You had Olu Fashanu, the OT. Brock Bowers was there. Latu, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. These guys needed an edge rusher. Chop Robinson.
Yeah.
A couple other dogs there, all right? So it is tough, and there was some Falcons fans were pretty mad.
Yeah. I mean, I think just in general, it seemed like there are frustrations all across the board there. And it's hard to understand it, again, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now you do have this guy, Michael Penix. If you want to develop him, you can, but I don't know how much developing he'll want to do there. And also, you don't want to be developing him because Kirk Cousins is your guy, technically.
Well, and then, let's say things go to play. Kirk Cousins plays out 3 years. They get to the NFC Championship. I don't think the Falcons are winning a Super Bowl, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
we'll
he goes off, maybe plays 1 year somewhere. But my boy Penix is 27 now.
Yeah.
And, that's and then he's still learning, developing, but, you only get so much game time.
Right.
So, and then, Kirk Cousins has a bad game, the fans are gonna start booing because you got this first round pick there.
Exactly.
So
exactly, it's funny. I mean, the other teams that we'll kind of step aside from Penny here because we could talk about them for 20 minutes in and of itself. But I mean, you think about what the Giants did. I mean, they're sticking with Danny Dimes at the moment.
You got it. You paid him all that money.
So okay, so they got their guy, but league Neighbors.
He didn't look too happy to be there, but that's a different story.
Well, did you see Kool-Aid's reaction to being a Saint? That was interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, so Neighbors is headed to the Giants easily. I mean, all that talk about the Vikings trading out, and they still got a guy who I think, again, early on we were saying J.J. McCarthy might not be the answer in the first round, but you saw how fast these quarterbacks went off the board.
Yep.
And, I mean, the Vikings were lucky enough to be in that position that they earned, trading into those spots. I think that was a big step for them, and they were able to get their guy.
Well, let's keep the QB stuff going because after JJ this was shocking. Bo Nix.
Everybody. I mean, think about who the Broncos are working with right now, though. Jarrett Stidham.
Yep.
Zach Wilson.
Yep.
I think it's Trevor Siemian, maybe.
It's Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci's there.
Yeah, but so that's the thing. Are you sure Bo Nix is that much better? And then Sean Payton's going, I baited other teams into taking this guy like that. You're not even in your conference.
You know me. I've been a believer in Bo Nix for quite a while now.
At the number 12 pick?
No, but I've been a believer in Bo Nix. And I think his first couple seasons in Auburn, he was okay. But he figured it out at Oregon. And I give him a lot of credit there. Also very old, by the way.
Say very old, right? 24, 25.
Yeah, all right. He's not very old, but he's Penix old.
Okay.
And I think, that pick for the Broncos, for what was left, I get why you had to do it because you have no other options.
Well, then also speaks on like Mac Jones going to the Jags, as he just, I don't know. I just think also with the Falcons or even the Broncos, all right, you didn't get your guy. You're using that 12th pick. You need to be locked in. You could have traded back because then look what happened to the Raiders. I saw a joke that they auto-drafted. They got Brock Bowers, who's a beast.
Yeah.
But they took Mayer last year in the first or in the second round. Now they just have a bunch of tight ends with Aiden O'Connell and Minshew. So, oh no,
Minshew's their guy though.
This is unless I probably have to wrap up soon, but this is one more that I have here that is. This is looking into the future.
Yeah.
The Bills trading with the Chiefs. The Chiefs get Worthy, which I knew Worthy was going to fall to them. He was going to be in that area where they could you win the Super Bowl, you get a luxury pick. Listen, the Bills ended up with Coleman. Worthy's there. He's 170 soaking wet. But listen, I'll talk to you in December when Patrick Mahomes is scrambling off a stupid penalty because of hip drop. So they get the first down in the fourth quarter, and he throws a bomb to Worthy.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. So that's the crazy thing there, I think, which will be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But Chris, got any others?
That was nuts. I mean, I'm just trying to think of, I'm kind of still stuck in the Broncos. I know you mentioned Worthy and that whole trade. I mean, first of all, Bills trading with a team that they literally can't beat in the playoffs is hilarious in and of itself. Yeah. But just feeding more power is insane.
With the fifth-year option now.
Yeah.
But Chris, as always, thanks for joining, and send your trivia answers to webradio@patriots.com, and let's get back to Unfiltered.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next, for residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
And Brandon Spikes is
working. Spikes these
he's
days?
at Florida. He's working back at the alma mater. And
nice.
And he's helping out Florida's program, trying to get them back, to where they were when he was there and things like that. And so,
is he still on the internet?
I asked Evan about that yesterday.
I'm sure you know.
I'm gonna plead the fifth.
You want his OnlyFans account?
You get a license for that thing?
Yeah, that was a great moment in PFW and Progress history.
Oh yeah. Oh, you guys discovered the.
Who does a Google search of Brandon Spikes' junk? And Frank goes, I have seen it.
I've seen it.
And then Paul
I
starts,
said it in the elevator yesterday, and
I
I
don't
was
get
like,
that.
"What?"
And then Paul starts grilling me. Have you seen Brett Favre's junk? Yes. Have you seen so-and-so? Yes.
I just go, I don't get that. I have no desire to see
I
any.
said it's research.
That's another great moment from
It's a beautiful day out in Boston. Temperatures are close to 80s and sun's out, fun's out. So get ready for warmer weather with the latest in stock and ready to ship outdoor styles from Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop everything from weather-resistant wicker seating and barbecue-ready bar and dining sets to on-trend indoor-outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and decor. Stop in and shop now to embrace springtime at Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. And if you're out in the sun, what are you doing, Paul? Drinking beer.
Oh, okay.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots.
I didn't know if we were lying on the beach drilling for oil, so I didn't. I got my.
You could be doing that.
Okay.
Could be doing that. Trivia time. Trivia Tuesday. How many touchdowns did Jermaine Wiggins have with the Patriots?
Ooh,
3.
I was going to
Incorrect.
say
I'm gonna
7.
go. Yeah.
Incorrect.
12.
5.
No.
No.
5 is correct.
5.
Oh, nice job.
How many postseason touchdowns did Antoine Smith have with the Patriots?
3.
No.
4.
Postseason, no. 2.
2?
No.
Only 2. And finally, what numbers did Brian Hoyer wear?
2.
That's 1.
8.
That's 2.
6.
No.
10.
10?
No. 5.
5.
Oh,
I knew 2.
I knew 5 too.
Yep.
That's a good one.
All right.
Was he 5 last?
I think so.
No,
I think
Folk.
no.
I
5
thought he was
wasn't his
2,
most-
wasn't he?
Well, Folk was 6.
I know,
It was
2
2
popped
or
in my
5
head.
most recently.
I think he was 5.
I think.
The last time he played for the
Yeah,
Patriots.
I think you might be right.
And that's the one I missed.
I'll take your word for it.
Whatever.
You're the number
Well,
guy.
If you'll take my word for it.
I know.
So it's Deuce, it's Alex, Evan, Paul, myself, Matt in the booth. We're talking the Brady roast and rookie minicamp and whatever else is on your mind. 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Webradio@patriots.com is the email address. Let's get back to the phones after our lunch break. What'd you have, Paul?
Buff tendies.
Buff tenders? Nice. Duncan is in Hawaii. Hey, Duncan. Duncan. Oh, come on.
Duncan.
You know, I wanted to talk to somebody from Hawaii. That's too bad. We got to get a better phone system. You know, when people hang up, it should say that they hung up.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Eldred's in North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
There it is.
All right.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Eldred.
Got a question for you. If the wide receiver coach, you think he could do something with Pope and Taquan Thornton or any other wide receivers? Since they didn't have him last year, a wide receiver coach last year.
Well, they had a wide receiver
Yeah, it
coach
was
last year,
Troy
Troy
Brown.
Brown, but now it's Tyler Hughes.
No, he's not a wide receiver coach, bro.
Oh.
Okay, well, he had
I'm
the.
sorry, I got this through that.
He had the title.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah, he
but
had the title.
he's a former wide receiver coaching the wide receivers with the title of wide receivers.
He was
coach.
coaching he was coaching a flag team this weekend in Sharon.
Yeah, Tyler Hughes is the new wide receivers coach who was on the staff before this a couple years ago, and then is now was on the staff at Washington last year, coaching those receivers. So there you go.
Yep.
My guy just went
So
yard.
50-50 in there then, huh?
In terms of how good he is at the job,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, look, when you coach Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk, and Jalen McMillan, I think that you have to prove that you can do it with lesser talent first before we crown you. But they obviously had a very good year there at Washington last year with those receivers. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing that they played well under his tutelage, but they're also 3 really talented guys. So, we'll see.
Yeah. If anyone wonders what
Well,
Paul
that's
is
all I got,
reacting
fellas.
to, it's Northeastern
Yeah, have a good
baseball.
one.
Thanks, Eldred.
All right,
They
thanks,
almost
Eldred.
went back to back to back. They missed it by about a foot.
Northeastern baseball. That's next to go, by the way, Paul.
Next to go?
Next to go.
What?
They're cutting it from the
Northeastern
athletic
baseball.
department.
Oh, it's one of the few successful programs. They ain't going anywhere.
Well, they get to play the Red Sox every year in Florida. Beast, you know.
Did you ever play the Red
Did
Sox?
you get to do that?
I did not because I didn't go to Northeastern.
You wouldn't know it. BU doesn't play. They never get a
I went to
shot.
BU.
BC gets to play the Red Sox, right?
Occasionally, yes.
Yeah. Tyler in New York City. I really like the roast because
I did play at Fenway, though, Alex.
It's pretty cool.
Why are you telling Alex?
Because she asked if I ever played the Red Sox. And she's
Just
the only one that wasn't
specifically-
mocking and ridiculing.
Just specifically Alex.
Mine came from
Alex,
genuine curiosity.
If you're looking for some real baseball highlights, you go back to BU in the 80s. I was there.
Could have thrown this. Put me in. We would have won the state championship.
From the guy whose career moment was against Canisius.
Just became the roast of Paul Perillo.
That's good. That's good. The Ice Griffs are a solid program.
You know what?
PU roast.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on for a second. Paul, didn't we have a concept years ago when Eric was here that we were going to have a roast?
Did we?
Yeah, like we would take turns roasting each other.
I don't think that's a good idea.
When you realized you liked your jobs and
That's basically the show already.
I mean, kind of the show for you and I is a roast. We get killed every show.
That might be a good idea, though.
Yeah. Clean, though. No F.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
No, we shouldn't drop F
Then
bombs.
what's the point of the roast? If we're not going to
What are you talking about?
roast, we can't roast.
Well, listen.
We don't need any affairs
You know, the
coming out.
history of these roasts, it used to be the Friars Club in New York was like this club for a comedian. And every year they would do the Friars Club roast. And they'd pick a different comedian to roast. And then, I don't know what happened, if they ran out of money or something, but then Dean Martin picked it up. And on TV, they'd have the Dean Martin roast. Oh, yeah. And they were, made for TV. And it was like Foster Brooks doing his drunk guy thing and Rich Little doing
impersonations.
Yeah. And they started out good, but they got really lame. It was like the same people, and it got bad. And
Don
then
Rickles.
Yeah.
Good one.
It got really bad. And then, but now this new era is the Jeffrey Ross roast.
Right.
And those
Right.
are all crazy.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones in the vault with Jeffrey Ross, and it hasn't been good in a while because people just don't joke like that. Like it's too. Everybody's gets sensitive and everything about it, and apparently Giselle's already sensitive about it too. So, cry me a river. But
Giselle.
Anyway, Tyler in New York says, I really like the roast because it celebrated Tom Brady, the Patriot. Too much of Brady media focuses on both teams, Patriots and Buccaneers. Remember that his first retirement announcement didn't even acknowledge the Patriots. You have all said this really feels like closure for the dynasty, and I agree. By not including Buccaneer coaches or teammates, except Gronk, who was primarily a Patriots teammate, it primarily celebrated Tom's Patriots career.
Meatball.
It felt healing in a sense. Tom Brady is our quarterback, and the world knows that in his post-playing career, he's a Patriot.
I forgot he played at Tampa.
I forgot he played for the Patriots. I mean,
it's quite a trick he just pulled there, though.
Yeah.
When Tom Brady retired the first time, the media didn't mention that he was a Patriot, but because Tom didn't mention the Patriots in his farewell.
Right.
Remember, that was a big thing.
Yep.
But we'll be mad at the media for not.
There were Bucs teammates on the Dias, as they say, but they just didn't speak.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ryan Jansen, Levante David.
Oh, were they the guys on the other side?
on the other
I
side.
was wondering who they were. I thought they might be like comedy writers.
No, the people that were
They were in
behind the
their own
row of
section.
comedians.
So, they didn't get any of what you wanted.
They didn't get to sit with the
No, but
Patriots.
it was definitely not as advertised as the Patriots contingent that was there for sure. But they were some Bucs teammates.
There's some good comedy gold though from Tom's Buck days. Like you probably could have worked in him practicing when he wasn't supposed to, and the drunk thing. Like after he did the
parade.
There's mix in the water.
Yeah, there's some stuff there. There's
could have been some
comedic area. I think you could dabble in. The other thing with the roast though is that you just see how simple it is though. It's like there's going to be dumb jokes about Gronk. There's going to be Jewish jokes about Edelman. There's going to be divorce jokes about Brady. You just see what they are, and you just kind of work in that area. So
you pick at the nits.
Yeah. I don't know. I always my mind just always reduces it down to what is the core of that joke, and it's all kind of obvious. That's why poor Gronk. It's just as soon as you realize Gronk's target tonight, you knew he was getting killed the whole night
the
long.
only thing they have to say is that he's dumb.
Yeah, right.
That he's in good shape.
Yeah.
He made it his whole career without.
Somebody's got to be
anything
fat.
I still don't think
nefarious
he's
or
ever
crazy.
cashed a paycheck from playing.
No.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there in his
No,
wallet.
just his endorsements, right?
Yeah, just his endorsements he spends. Yeah.
Who's the idiot now?
Right.
Guy's laughing all the way to the bank.
Craig and Charlotte.
Brock's here. I don't really have a joke. I just want to make sure that he knows.
Craig and Charlotte, appreciate your coverage of the draft. I've got a renewed energy and hope for the coming year. I know Elliot and Gerard have talked a lot about the importance of competition. We have like 11 receivers and like 15 O-linemen. Doesn't feel like we really brought in hardly anyone on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the D-line aside from Watts. Do you feel like the Patriots have done enough to generate camp competition for the D? Think we'll see some of those wide receiver and linemen released before the start of camp and more defensive camp bodies brought on?
I just think you got to pick your battles, and the offense needed the attention this year. And I don't think that they're totally prepared on the defensive front, for the season in terms of the pass rush depth you saw last year when you lost Judon, how much it kind of fell off. So I still have concerns, but it's just a matter of the offense was so terrible last year. How can you really realistically make a case that, like, well, we really need a two-gapper to back up Devon Godchaux, or we really need a day two edge guy. Like, I'd rather have the receivers. But I do think that, if Judon were to go, or, I mean, it almost like makes me wonder if it's hurting them from trying to trade Judon because they just don't have the depth to play behind him. I mean, the guy Jimenez that they signed like that, I mean, that's what you're talking about after Uche Jennings and Judon. There's nothing there.
What's the roster at now?
I think it's 89
players.
Yeah, after
so yeah, you'll probably see some more comings and goings there.
Yeah, I think their defense is in really good shape. I do, and I think that Gerard Mayo, DeMarcus Covington coming back, Pellegrino coming back, they're banking on the fact that they're going to have continuity and coaching on that side of the ball that they trust.
They finished pretty strong too. Like they were giving up like 7 points a game if they were lucky.
They got to force more turnovers. I mean, that was one thing that they didn't
more
have enough
disruptive
of last year.
Splash plays.
But if everybody, the top line guys, all stay healthy and one or two guys takes a good step forward, I think they'll be fine.
Judon being back too, he's going to get so much attention. Sorry to cut you off, and I think that's just going to force other people to be in positions to just wreak havoc on the other teams.
I wonder if Barmore's going to start to get that attention too. Is that attention going to start to go to Barmore more than? I mean, it's hard to kind of play both those with a guy on the inside and a guy on the outside. But
and I get the impression that wow, they're really just focused on the offense, but when you think about it, like Evan said, Christian Gonzalez is still kind of in his rookie year. He only played 4 games, so I consider him still kind of, a rookie. Yeah. Keon White, he's played more, but like he's a young guy that we're waiting to see what he can do. So I mean, there's young guys on defense that we'll see what they can do this year.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing that Gerard had mentioned too, was just wanting to give those guys opportunities. And if you start signing big name free agents and stuff like that on that side of the ball, you're not ever going to give Keon White a fair shake of opportunities if you sign a big time edge rusher or something like that in free agency. So I understand that maybe they didn't invest on that side of the ball as much as they did on offense, but I feel really good about where they are defensively. I don't think they're going to lose games because their defense is not getting stops. Yeah. Let me put you that way.
I've said it before, and I still am interested to see what the effect of losing Bill Belichick has on the defense.
Yeah.
You lose that insight, you lose that game planning.
And Steve.
45 years of knowledge, and Steve, but, mostly Bill. Like, are these guys going to be put in the position to succeed like they were last year?
I think it almost carries over to offense, too, a little bit, Fred. Like, you're saying, like, Bill going into the game, looking at the other team and saying, this is defensively what we have to do. I'm sure he had the same thing to say about the offensive side of the ball. That might not have been him necessarily executing it, but him identifying what they needed to do on offense. And I think there's no way to really know, but I think that that's going to be part of it too. That not having his insight into opponents and knowing, tactically how we need to dismantle this operation. I think that's a big loss. Just to go back to Keon White though, he's my most interesting guy on defense this year. Like if he can, elevate and really be one of the main dudes in that kind of rotation up front, I think it'll be a good thing. And then the cornerbacks, those 3 that I named with Isaiah Bolden, Marcellus Dial, and Alex Austin. I mean, Sean Wade, Marco Wilson in that mix too. But those 3 guys, I feel like I'd love to see somebody emerge and be, another outside presence. Even if you start with Gonzo and Jay Jones on the outside, and then allows Jay Jones to slide inside on third down, like we've talked about with McCourty. and even J.C. Jackson to a degree. You know, that I think is the biggest thing for me because there aren't a lot of those guys. Mapu is kind of redundant. I mean, I am interested in him, but I don't really see a scenario where Marte Mapu becomes a huge part of the defense this year. I could maybe see it with Keon White, though.
Yeah. Kenny T from AZ writes in, do you see the Patriots signing J.C. Jackson since Coach Mayo is a player's coach, or has that ship sailed?
Sailed.
Yeah.
Sailed all the way across the world.
I'd rather sign.
I hope it sailed.
I'd rather sign Gilmore in at cornerback depth, but with the reports of Gilmore wanting a multi-year deal, is Jackson an option? I don't think Jackson is an option.
No, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think once you get to that point, you'll have a sense of Isaiah Bolden or, you know, how many of these other corners might be able to step in. And I mean, that's the perfect case scenario. But Isaiah Bolden, a year 2 guy under contract, put him in and let him play. But if they don't like those guys, maybe they go out and get Gilmore.
Yeah, I would just wait and see what some of these guys do in training camp and over the summer. I think that that's what they're trying to do here defensively. They know who their core guys are going to be on defense. It's these third cornerback. It's the rotational edge rusher to take the pressure off Judon, like those types of guys that are more the sticking point right now. And let's see what some of the younger players can do before we bury them behind Stephon Gilmore or behind an edge guy or something like that. And I think that's the plan. And I can understand why they're going that way because they were really good on defense. And, yeah, I get that, you know, Bill's going to be a loss, but I think what they will be a little bit more is a little bit more systemic, I feel like. I don't know if it will be as much mixing and matching, which we'll see if that's good or bad. I mean, they're still going to have game plan elements, but Bill would literally rewrite the entire install every single week to fit the opponent. I don't think that they're going to be doing stuff quite as drastically as, you know, Super Bowl 53 when they go from a man team to a zone team in 2 weeks. Like, I don't think we're going to be seeing stuff like that.
Last week we were talking about first-round picks who started out poorly and then resurrected. Or, you know, Junior from Canton says, I was surprised nobody mentioned Devin McCourty as someone who started off as a bust and went on to have a good career. After his all-pro first year at cornerback, McCourty was so bad he had to be moved to free safety, where he became a future Patriots Hall of Famer.
Correct my I remember the conversation we had. Were someone who started off good and ended up bad?
No, someone that looked like he was going to be a bust, and then
he had one of his best years as a rookie.
Well, no, he said that. He said as a rookie.
So I don't think he looked like he was going to be a bust.
Yeah, but then he said he got so bad that he had to be moved to safety.
Yeah, but the first impression was a really good year.
Right.
He had a good rookie year.
Oh, he led the league with interceptions for a rookie, right, or something like that.
I think you're right.
I think he led the league in interceptions. Period.
Yeah,
but he's talked about that at some of the events that we've been able to do with him in retirement. And you know, he always says, "Oh well, I was so bad that's why they moved me to safety." But there was also a glaring need for them to try to shore up the back end by moving him to safety too. So it kind of Bill has said that it's sort of worked out for both sides, right? Where Devin was starting to struggle a little bit at corner, and they needed a free safety, and it just ended up being a perfect match.
And I do think he struggled at corner. You know, I remember early in the 12 season, the game at Baltimore. Get up a couple of big plays, a couple of big penalties. But I don't think it was like, wow, this is like Ross Dowling. This is a bust of a pick at corner. I don't think it was like that. And then he was so good at safety.
The way I kind of remember it too was that was around in 12 when they got Talib, and it seemed like they really made a shift to man defense, which didn't ever feel like that was. You know, McCourty felt more like a zone corner and kind of fit the old mold.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of playing into it, too.
That might have had something to do with it, too.
Yeah. Andre from New Jersey on the same subject, he was surprised no one mentioned Patrick Chung.
That's an interesting one because I don't think that he was a total
But he wasn't a
bust
first-round
here.
pick.
Yeah, but again,
early second pick.
But again, that's
pick.
another kind of scheme thing, I feel like. And talking about the same time frame where – you know, he left and went to Philly, and he came back, and all of a sudden,
I could buy Chung though. In that category, because he was not good the first time around, and then he came back, and he was a much different player.
Bill has fallen on that sword.
Yeah.
He said that was us. We messed it up.
He has two questions. Is there an undrafted free agent you like that has a chance to make the roster?
Charles Turner.
Yeah, we talked about Charles Turner a little bit upstairs.
Yeah, Charles Turner, center for LSU. A lot of really high praise about him. Multi-year starter in the SEC. Bigger guy, like not, you know, Jake Andrews is one of those like blocky, squatty type of guys.
Yeah.
This is a taller, longer player. Probably just a center, though, so that might be a part that is harder for him to make the roster, and he needs to add some weight. He's 300 pounds soaking wet, which I know sounds ridiculous, but for a lineman,
small.
he's got to add some sand in the pants before he's ready for NFL competition. But people really high on him. Think he's going to be a good player.
Deshaun Fenwick maybe is a big,
him
early
too.
down running back, but there's just opportunity.
He'd be the guy that I would pick just because of the position.
He's going to have some
Someone's gotta
opportunities in the
make it.
preseason that he could have a big August preseason game in him.
When you talk about
Fenwick.
Kevin Harris too, is one of those like second level guys that with a new coaching staff seems like he might get a chance.
But even if he makes it, that's 3.
Yeah.
That let's say he's on, so that's Ramondre and Gibson and
him.
Kevin Harris. So
that's it.
That doesn't seem like enough.
I think they need another running back.
Yeah, right. So I think that Fenwick kid has a chance.
Yeah, I think they need. I would like to see them maybe try to add another veteran like they did with Zeke. Late in the process, someone will shake free because nobody wants to pay their running back. So if it comes down to like a post June 1 cut type of thing, I don't think they have enough at running back. I mean, you're not counting on Kevin Harris or Fenwick being a player for you, and so then you're really going into the season with 2 backs,
which is already was like the danger zone you were in last year when you were just
Second question now. This may be a stupid one, but for those who couldn't purchase tickets for Brady, would we be able to watch live on our mobile phones or the Patriots website? And the answer is yes. The plan is to stream it live on Patriots.com and YouTube, the Patriots channel on YouTube. So either way, you can watch it live. So excited about that.
Just need good weather.
Yeah.
That's the big
rain or shine.
Hey.
Yep. Let's see. A lot of emails. Dylan in Nashville. With the new kickoff rules next season, do you think that we could see Jaheim Bell returning kicks?
Not a bad idea. I mean, he played running back at South Carolina. Obviously, that's one of his strengths is a ball carrier and his sturdiness as a ball carrier. I wouldn't hate seeing it if that's what it's really going to be. If it's really going to be more like a running back running through the line of scrimmage versus a kickoff, return, then maybe. I mean, you definitely don't want, Ramondre or Antonio Gibson doing it. We just had a conversation about having no running backs. So, yeah, it's possible.
Rick in Dallas. So based on everything we've seen so far, I'm starting to think maybe it's time they move on from Drake May and try Milton as the starter. Let's be honest. In all the time May has been on the team, he hasn't done anything. Everyone knows Milton has a huge arm and think of all the different plays they could use with Milton that May simply can't do. May limits them to only 75-yard bombs, but with Milton you could run 1,080,000 to 85-yard bomb plays. It would be completely open up the offense. I know you'll all probably disagree with me, but seriously, how long are we willing to wait for May to make an impact? I feel like I've been very patient, but enough is enough. It's time to make a change.
It's good. Yeah. Performative.
I see what you did there.
I like that.
Agreed.
I like that.
I'm triggered.
80 to 85. Could also miss all the short passes if you want.
And the long ones.
Yeah.
Since he was the last ranked player on passes that traveled more than 20 yards.
What about 80 yards?
But he can throw it really far.
That's still low. That's more than 20, Mike.
Willems and Phillum. What's up, William?
Hey, Fred. How you doing?
All right.
All right. Question. So, 2 questions about the tackle and the wide receiver. The Patriots didn't like none of the left tackles in the draft?
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't say they
Tyler
didn't
Guyton
like
went,
any of them.
Once Tyler Guyton went, it was, I mean, that was it. I mean, pure left tackle is going to step in.
The second guess is they maybe should have changed the order of the positions that they picked and made sure they got a left tackle. But they didn't. And by the time they were up, the right tackle option with Caden Wallace was better than anything that was still on the board. I mean, we do this every year, William, like when we draft guys and then we call their college coaches.
Right.
So, I mean, I take them a little bit for what they are. I mean, obviously, for the most part, the coaches are going to be very complimentary of their players. But in talking to Phil Troutwine yesterday, actually, Penn State offensive line coach, I do think that there's a fair amount of optimism that from a schematic standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, he has the ability to switch sides. That's a big if. I mean, he was the 68th overall pick, and you're asking him to play a different position than he played in college. That is probably not going to be your day one option. But that doesn't mean it's not a good pick. He could eventually be your option. It's kind of like we were talking about with Todd's question earlier in the show about what kind of progress would you like to see. And I think if you can find out that Okorafor is a placeholder at left tackle, but Wallace is going to be the guy, I think that would be a really positive development.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been this question's for you.
Yes, sir.
It's about for the wide receivers. So you said in 2025 the free agency will be deep in terms of dynamic receivers. You mentioned a couple of names, whatnot, if they get out there in free agency.
Yeah.
So are you predicting that this is the Patriots are finally going to do this? Because this has been over since 20, 40 years since Randy Moss?
In terms of paying a receiver, I mean, they tried to pay Calvin Ridley. They didn't pay him enough, but they tried to pay him. Right. So I don't think that this is an issue of we won't cut the check for $25 million for the receiver. It's just the Titans gave him 26 and he signed that deal. So I think if they come available, I think the Patriots will be interested heavily. The question is with all these receivers is, do they actually come available? Devontae Smith has already signed his extension. Jamar Chase is not going anywhere in Cincinnati.
Right.
He's one of those guys. Brandon Ayuk, though, is a guy. T. Higgins, those guys could come available. And if they do, I think the
Maybe
Patriots.
even C.D. Lamb.
Yeah, I think the Patriots will be at the front of the line. I do.
I just want Drake May to have his number one receiver. I mean, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Thank y'all, everybody. Take care.
All right. Thanks, William. Appreciate the call. Bjorn's calling from Belgium.
Oh.
Not calling, but writing in. Sorry. Love the show. Learned so much about the game so far. Question for all of you. Because last weekend was May the 4th, which Star Wars would you draft, and on which position would you want them to play?
Oh.
Which Star Wars? Does he mean character?
Characters.
I guess so, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Chewbacca would be offensive line, obviously.
not defensive end?
Both ways. He's got
length?
Wookiees are known for their stamina, so he could probably go both ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yoda, running back. Tough, little, but
Short,
can move.
Yeah.
Spins around in
Yeah,
the
well,
air.
Slot receiver, maybe.
He's got that jitterbug in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably C-3PO and R2D, probably on the sidelines. Not great movement skills from those two.
Quality assurance.
I want nothing to do with Anakin because he's a puddle.
Yeah.
it would just
He's
unravel
volatile.
him. It would unravel him real
but
quick.
He could
He's in
harness
his
that
own head.
energy, though. I think he could be really great. But
No, I think he's bad for the locker room. I'm out.
Doesn't like sand either. It's probably going to be
That's
tough
what I'm
with-
saying. You can't trust a
it's
guy that doesn't like sand.
I mean, the
No
AstroTurf
grit.
out there's got those little balls. It's kind of like sand. You'd probably hate that
Darth
too.
Vader as your nose tackle, or no?
It's good. I mean, first guy off the bus for sure. First guy off the bus.
This is great.
Yeah.
We just go on and on. I mean, Luke Skywalker. It is what it is. Kind of boring.
No.
Kind of boring.
I think Han Solo, quarterback. I mean, he's got the look.
He's got
right?
that wide receiver cockiness though.
Yeah,
He
that's
probably
true.
want another
That Kenny
payday.
Stabler look.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Han Solo is the quarterback. I think.
Yeah. We'd have trouble with him with DraftKings though, probably. He'd be in the locker room placing bets.
That's
and
so
stuff,
true.
Can we go into
be Michael
the
Jordan?
spin-offs? Is Boba Fett? Can we use him? Can we use?
Does he
Boba
get
Fett?
the jetpack or not?
Yeah.
Is he allowed to?
Can we use the guy
I
from
don't know.
Mandalorian?
I mean, we'd have to get a
Boba Fett's
full.
in the
The guy
original
that was in
trilogy.
Yeah, we'd
Narcos,
have to get a full medical on Boba Fett because he fell in the Sarlacc pit. I don't know what. I mean, you get digested over
That's
1,000 years. It seems like he'd have some kind of injury situation. We need to get our.
No, but then he
doctors to
went
get
into
it.
that water thing and got better.
The back to tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, modern medicine is amazing, but you just want to make sure he's got stability in the joints. Paul's got another
Same guy. Same guy.
See,
Just
while
went
I'm
deep
nerding
again.
out on Star Wars, Paul's nerding out on his Star Wars.
My
Luke
neighbor.
does have a
Tyler
bionic hand
McGregor.
though.
Ooh.
So I do wonder if the
He can
bionic
spin
hand.
it. He can spin it.
Yeah, it might be good for catching the ball actually as a receiver because it might be have a little bit more strength at.
I like it. I like
I think Jar Jar's a safety.
Jar Jar.
Jar
Jar Jar's off the team.
Have you
What
seen
are we
Jar
doing?
Jar runs funny? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I only wish I could contribute.
did a
I
solid
love
5
this
minutes.
nonsense. I just don't know enough to contribute. This is like the roast.
Mark,
I'm not prepared.
Mark wants to know. He's from Scotland. Do you think the draft will ever make its way to Boston?
Yeah.
Is that something that
I'm not interested.
Robert Kraft wants to do?
I don't know.
Oh my God!
I think it's
all
just-
the
I think
people
that would be the big thing.
All
Yeah.
the people that pulled up to Detroit, like where would we put those people?
In Boston.
Yeah,
you just do it. You do it at like the Heinz
I would like to
Convention
think that.
Center or something.
You do it on the Commons.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I'm
Seaport.
talking about traffic.
Yeah, it'd
It's
have
not
to be
here.
like government center.
I'd like to
or
think the
here.
people of Boston wouldn't be
What's
that
the convention
interested.
center in the
So
Seaport?
we wouldn't have that kind of congestion.
The convention center.
They used to have to protect Roger from the Patriot fans, but maybe they'd be okay with him. He'd get booed. He'd get vehemently
In
booed.
all seriousness, though, have we talked at all about
Strenuously
this GM search that?
We talked.
We
about
did.
it.
but
Okay,
do
I
you
just
have
wasn't
any,
sure if I
do you have
wasn't-
any
you have
thoughts?
anything? Yeah.
No, we let off with news.
I figured. I was just asking.
You good? Do you want to interview for it?
I haven't been asked, but in
Would
the
you turn it
in the
down?
media
Just-
workroom, they did ask me if I received an interview, and they were wondering if I would be considered an external candidate, which is a fair question.
Now, by they, I'm curious as to who we're talking about. I want to know who I think less of now.
The interns, the usual suspects, but yeah,
The
you know,
interns.
obviously they were busting my chops about this, but I take it seriously, and I think I'd be an internal candidate though. So I don't know if that would that they don't need any more of those. They already have internal candidates. So
The internal part, I agree with.
Yeah.
Not so sure about the candidate.
yeah. Well,
Rusty and
teach their
Arlen, respectfully, I think I'll be the first to say I'm already tired of hearing about Drake May's family less than 2 weeks in. It reminds me of the Harbaugh Super Bowl. I believe Paul was with me on that one. Now, without having seen anyone play, let's have some fun with predictions. Who will start the most games at left tackle?
Chuksa Okorafor.
He says that's who he's going for.
That would be
Okorafor.
my pick.
What about Calvin Anderson? Just to
Oh,
go off
redemption
the beam.
story.
Right. He got over malaria, and now he's starting left tackle. I mean, I've said it before. He's the only one who's played significant snaps on the left side in the NFL of everybody, and he was kind of. I don't know what kind of plans they had for him, but he was kind of signed last year to play left tackle, or at least offer them some flexibility behind.
I was intrigued by him, honestly, when they did make the signing. Relative to the signing, right? Obviously, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be Joe Thomas, but he's got some athletic traits, and when you watched him on film in Denver, like he did move well on tape. He's got some explosiveness to move out of his stance. But I keep saying it. I'm not saying I believe it, but they are higher on this offensive line group than we are. The outside, they really felt because all of this is out now that they wanted to trade up for Xavier Legette. They weren't trying to trade up for a tackle. They are trying to trade up for a receiver, and they ended up double dipping at receiver anyways. Like they were quarterback receiver were their two biggest needs, and they feel better about the tackles than everybody else does.
Yeah. I got a good question in the mailbag, probably a good one just to open up to the group here, was about just the offensive line and the body types. And if you really are going to run a wide zone and you want to have athletic guys like Cole Strange, you have a mishmash of personnel that was even kind of doubled down with Robinson a little bit of looking more like a gap power type guard.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say, like, to the point about they think more of the line. Does that worry anybody? It worries me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
It worries
that's
me.
every
Like,
single sign.
Do
has
they
been pointing to
evaluate
that,
it?
though.
Like, and this is more, an Evan kind of observation from what you're talking about, Mike. But like, Owenu is a really solid player. Does he fit what they want to do?
No.
And then, I mean, I know Robinson, and again, I talked to Steve Adazio about him, and he did sort of point to his athleticism, his ability. He's a road grader. That's how we described him. So it's not like he didn't have the same, impression of his own player as everybody else, but he does think he has the footwork. I asked him specifically about the scheme, while prefacing that with saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I did. And he laughed, and I said, does that fit? And he goes, yeah, he has the athleticism to play any style that you want. Now, again, that's what college coaches say about their players, unless they're bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it all depends on where you're truly trying to aim the ball carrier. Like if you really want to get outside the tackles and you want to be out on the perimeter, then I don't think that they have the horses for it. Now, if you're really just trying to set up cutback lanes and you want to flow everybody outside to cut it back up through the middle, and you work those backside combination blocks with guys like Sau and Owenu, I could see that being effective. But overall, you look at these lines that run these types of schemes, they're all Cole Stranges. They're all 300 pounds. They're all athletic. They all tested well in the combine. They can all run. They can block in space. They have range at the position. Like, I'm not describing half the guys that they have on this offensive line right now. I'm just not. So that's this group. I remember in Atlanta when they were building that scheme down there a couple years ago, and it was like Chris Lindstrom in the first round at guard, who's built exactly like Cole Strange. It was Caleb McGarry, another athletic tackle. Those types of players, like those are Green Bay is always liked more undersized linemen, to run outside zone. So I don't see it, but I also wouldn't hold it against them. I think that AVP could adjust. Like, I think that maybe we're making too much out of the outside zone stuff, and maybe they will be more, not necessarily Patriots traditional, fullback ISO lead, type of plays, but maybe it's counter, or maybe it's, some of the different types of gaps, crack toss plays, things like that are technically gap in blocking, but are aimed to get outside, like the way that they want to.
But it kind of feeds back into what we said about how much more of a game plan team that they're going to be. And, it does seem like the signs aren't pointing to, we're just a wide zone team. That's what we're running.
Yeah.
That is our run game. It's either wide zone, inside zone, back and forth. So I guess maybe where it's going to exist is they're going to, like you said, have a little bit of a mishmash. And maybe they will be more game plan in terms of the runs.
That's what Cleveland's been over the last couple years. Like, even though Stefanski is at his root a wide zone truther, they ran a lot of gap over the last couple of years as well, and they were extremely diverse. Like, they ran a bunch of different things. So I think that's going to be the goal. But if you want to set up the misdirection and the bootlegs off of it, and you want to disguise it and make it all look the same and make it all look pretty, like that's what that scheme is. So you have to stick to your guns on that a little bit, and it could take time because it's one of those schemes as well. It's a in concert type of thing where all 5 guys need to move together. So like, it doesn't happen overnight. The chemistry is not going to be built overnight. So a lot of people that you talk to that talk about outside zone say it could take a whole season for the guys to get it down. And it could, 2025 might be the year where it really starts to take hold.
And that makes me wonder if there's an opening for a dark horse guy like a Calvin Anderson, who is a little bit more athletic than Okorafor, but maybe once they get it all together, it might be a couple random pieces that you're not really expecting at this point that actually can figure this out quicker than the rest.
Let's see. Mark writes in, I've been thinking about a new name for Joe Milton, as it was revealed that he does not like the Bazooka Joe name he was given in college, even though it sounds pretty badass. Can you run this one past him, if possible, please? Sam, surface-to-air missile. Keep up the great work, ladies and gentlemen.
Does it come back down, though? It's got to come back down to the surface.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's in the air.
I'm not going to run that by him.
No.
No.
It's American.
No.
Sneaky negative. He's always there, lurking behind the scenes.
He just toss a little bomb, jump out of the window.
Duly noted.
855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Let's go to Kevin in South Carolina. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Alex. Hey, boys. How we doing?
Good.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, I got a little roast for you if you're here to endure it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Not me, though.
All right, Pollywog, I'm going to start with you now. I'm sorry your adult diaper endorsement fell through. But it's okay, because all your takes are still crap.
Okay.
All right.
Fred?
All right. Not a bad opener.
Do we have laugh smack? Do we have a laugh track?
Yeah. Not a bad opener. I hope it's going to get better, but that wasn't bad.
Fred, you're like the lifeguard on this show. You really keep it from coming to life.
Oh, Fred. Oh, that's better.
Alex, you have burned so many gallons of carbon into this atmosphere along the pike. Is that your plan to kill the dolphins?
Okay.
I can't even complain.
Go
That's
on,
kind of
good.
true.
Evan. Sorry, Alex. Evan, does your
Say
girl
sorry.
get jealous of all these times you keep bringing a game to bed with you? But seriously, buddy, good luck finding an internal candidate.
Okay.
I don't know. Am I,
We peaked at my
I
adult
get,
diaper.
I get the first part.
And Mikey.
That's
Oh,
fair.
come on. Let's go.
You're my closer, Mike. Now, hockey is not football.
That's right.
But I thank every one of you for giving a puck. Go, Pats!
All right.
Nice.
All right, Kevin.
Well, good effort.
Yeah, good.
Good job. Good
Yeah.
effort.
I'm glad there's someone with that Boston accent.
Kevin
in South
came with an
Carolina,
act.
Keeping it real
I
down
like
there.
it.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Hi. He's got like the timing and everything.
Hey, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Is this thing on?
Andrew in L.A., he heard, some news for Eric Scalavino.
Oh, let's go.
In Providence, they've just started a cork sniffing department, so he'll be involved in that. So,
talk about a roast.
It says here the mayor was at a wine tasting this weekend. Could you, Mr. Scalavino, elaborate on his wine tasting? What exactly?
You gotta just keep smelling it now.
He did not sniff the cork.
He does not have sommelier in his future.
That would have been a funnier job.
We'll be
all of a
following
sudden.
the
He's a
career
sommelier.
of Eric, the director of
the West Wing
communications.
of Rhode Island. You got to keep us posted, man, on Rhode Island politics. What's going on?
I'm excited for this.
Well.
Elle from Wisconsin. Did anyone catch Eli's tweet after the roast? I thought
It's
about
good.
attending the roast of
Good.
Tom
That
Brady
was
last
funny.
night, but I did not want to roast him for a third time.
Good,
That
Eli.
was funny.
Yep.
No,
Like
that
it.
was good.
I didn't laugh at that.
You didn't laugh. You didn't
Wrong.
smile.
No.
You didn't snicker?
Oh, I thought
you
that
didn't
was
guffaw?
It was
Screw
cute.
Eli.
Yeah.
It was cute.
Yeah.
Hee hee ha ha.
Ugly.
Man.
Ugly.
Yeah, now it wasn't like roast quality.
No,
funny,
it was just
but
a
that
little,
was
just a little reminder. Here I
good
am
little line.
with my
PG
2 rings.
Eli.
I can't joke when it
Too-
comes
oh,
to that.
The wound is too raw.
Yeah, too raw.
Mark's in Connecticut. What's up, Mark?
Mark.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Mark.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Mark. One last quick question for you guys.
Yeah.
AD on Mitchell. Evan, do you think that the Patriots were ever in on him in the draft?
I'm gonna say no. I have to think no, because I just can't envision a
Because
world.
of the issues?
Yeah, I just can't envision a world where they, on talent, drafted 2 other receivers and we're just like, no, we're okay with this guy.
And I
so-
like the 2 of them that they drafted.
Yeah, I just if you're grading these guys, and I have to think if you're just going based off the traits in the film with AD Mitchell, I just can't imagine that you had Jalen Polk rated higher than him if all things were created equal off the field and stuff.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys.
Thanks, Eric.
Love you.
Mark.
Love you. Mean it.
What if Eli, went there on Twitter and it's just like, I would have gone to the roast, but I was busy with Giselle or something along those lines.
I learned how to teach karate. I've got a
Can
new
you
gig.
imagine?
Teaching
Shut up.
karate now. I
He
got a
shut
new
up.
gig.
That's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I was next after Tyree.
It's like something like, I screwed your team twice. Now I'm gonna fill in the blank. Something like that.
Fidel's in Tampa.
They just
He's got him at the ready.
They rate themselves.
Or Tampa. What's up, Fidel?
Hey guys, I just wanted to give 2 quick things. I was listening to the draft show, and one thing I did not think out here was Paul going, "What's up, brother?" when the influencer was announcing the Texans pick.
What's up, brother?
So that was the funniest
Check
part
Tuesday.
of the draft.
Check Tuesday.
I was expecting an argument, but that was a good consolation prize. And then my second thing was I want Evan to stop giving the movie Draft Day so much crap.
It's a horrible
His
movie.
teammates not attending his birthday when A.D. Mitchell fell a whole round later because of his diabetes medication and mood swings.
Just ask Deuce.
It's a terrible movie.
I'm Scott Malkinson.
It's just a horrible movie.
I love you.
All right.
Appreciate the call.
Thanks, Fidel.
Horrible movie.
Fidel gets me.
It wasn't that bad.
It's horrible.
If you're looking for draft realism, okay, but
Can we
that's
just?
what it
It's not
was.
even just realism. Like, can we be real in any sort of semblance of realism? Like, I don't need. I understand it's a movie. They're gonna want to have a flair for the dramatic, but then making the pick and then trading the picks after you make no. It just would never happen. Like, could you get somebody consulting on it, like Mike Lombardi or somebody to just be like, this is how
I
it
thought
actually
you wanted
works?
someone who knew something about the draft to consult on it.
Good.
Keneal Harry is the best.
Every time we talk about receivers, and if you kind of see it early and stuff like that, I just think of how bad N'Keal Harry looked right immediately as a rookie in 2019. It was like, this guy cannot run.
Yeah, right.
I could just see
Spring
Evan after
OTAs.
watching Bad News Bears.
Yeah,
I mean,
this would
come
never
on.
happen.
You got to make a baseball. Can you
Yeah.
at least, make a lineup that really
No,
makes
because-
sense?
This girl's pitched like 75 innings in the
those
last 3
movies
days.
are
This is
supposed to
impossible.
be comedic.
That's one. Kelly Leak hit every other batter.
Yeah.
That's 2.
Right.
Rudy Stein just kept getting hit by pitches every inning.
Those movies are comedies.
Okay.
Draft Day is supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be. It's just. It's a
Best for the team.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Coming up this week, Catch 22 is when?
On Thursday.
On Thursday? Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll also be back on Thursday, the opening day of rookie minicamp. We'll talk to you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.